Some skank from the hood.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Thursday, March 19th, 2015. Time for your Gitmo Nation Media Assassination, episode 705.
This is No Agenda.
Depressed from a full week of wet gray skies from the last time on this trip, broadcasting live from Rotterdam, the Netherlands. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, which is not Netherlands, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
And you ask me if I'm in the mood to start the show.
Boy, do I sound like I'm not in the mood.
Well, it was kind of uninspired.
It was. I was thinking. I couldn't come up with anything other than that. I thought I'd bounce it off your comment.
I'm so in the mood, John.
Bouncing it off.
I'd like to just hold hands, tell each other a secret, and braid our hair together.
Yeah, I think your hair needs braiding.
Well, in the morning, to all of the new Dutch listeners to the program.
We have new Dutch listeners?
Well, we must. The show has been mentioned all over the press once again.
It was mentioned this time? Because the stuff I've seen has mostly...
Did you see the pictures?
Just said you're a podcaster in some sort of derisive way.
Did you see the picture I sent you? Of the new...
Yeah.
It's incredible. I mean, every single gossip magazine again.
Boy, they're really hard up for gossip over there, aren't they?
And then I go into the supermarket.
No offense to you, by the way.
Well,
no offense to you. No offense meant.
I'll tell you. Sir Dave sent me a note. ITM Adam, I have long subscribed to your theory that our elites use media distraction to, well, distract the public. Have you ever given thought to the notion that when you go back to the Netherlands, you are the distraction? If King Alex gets overthrown while you're there, my theory will be proven. Hope you're well paid for your services.
Well, that's the joke of it, isn't it?
I wish. It's nuts. But anyway, it's all fine. The whole point of the story now is Adam has no money, and therefore Patricia gets no money.
Oh, well.
and Patricia says, "Oh, poor guy. Oh well." And there's no room in my life for him now.
Not with all this, yeah.
Not without the cash, apparently.
Yeah, well, that's the way it goes. What? No money? Get lost, chump.
Oh man. So Europe is
always. I mean, it was always about the money.
Of course.
It doesn't make any sense because when you two got together, you were just some character.
It's a character. Raggedy Ann. And Raggedy Andy.
Raggedy Ann.
Okay, fine. I'm ready to get out of Gitmo Nation lowlands, I'll tell you.
I'm sorry you didn't get to go to England.
Yeah, I really wanted to, but there's just so much to do. My sister's here, and from Italy, and so we had all the siblings and all the stuff, and but I learned a lot of things just by being here.
What's the latest? What is the latest that you've learned from the Netherlands?
Well, I learned from the Netherlands that everybody here is using, and I believe this is also happening worldwide now that I'm paying attention to it, is using this new app called Perfect 365. Have you heard of this?
I have not.
Perfect 365, and it's not a cheap app. I think it's $3. Whew. In app world, that's just astounding. But with it, it's like an Insta Photoshop for selfies. So you can literally touch on you have buttons, control buttons like lips, eyes, cheekbones, and this app identifies these different features in the face, and you can make yourself beautiful. It's really quite astounding. And once you have seen what this looks like, once you've played with it, and once you've seen your own face, how beautiful you can make it look, you see this thing is being used everywhere. Everyone is using this.
I'm going to the App Store website of ArcSoft, which makes this product.
Yeah, it's a product indeed, and of course this is very bad because no one.
It's only on the Apple. No, it is. No, it's available. On the Google.
I think it's Android too. Yeah.
I see that
on the Google. The Google. There you go. Your tech reporter, John C. Dvorak. It's available on the Google thing. It is. It really is an astounding app. And it is, I believe the use of this actually is facilitating the demise of our society at large. Everybody's going to think they're ugly when they see all these other photos.
Well, no, they use the app.
Yeah, then we're lost. Then we're lost in this. The people will go out and just like,
wow, they took a picture of some woman who was kind of a plain Jane, and they not only made her face prettier, but they put lipstick and makeup on her.
Oh yeah, you can change colors, and you can put eyeliner, all kinds of crazy things. I know, it's great.
Yeah, cool? Well, it makes sense if you think about it. You come up with something like
But
this.
when everyone is using this app, you might as well just stay home because when you go out, people will see the farce.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
Whoa,
You're not,
whoa.
Amen. Fist bump.
Whoa, big one.
Yes, no. You don't look anything like that woman that you sent me the picture of. Who is this? I want to go out with her.
Exactly. So then everyone will be inside, and that'll be it. Will be the end of civilization. Done.
Well, I stay inside now anyway, so what difference does it make to me? Probably take a few years off my portraits. I'm going to start doing selfies.
Oh, God. A couple of things. First, I wanted to mention that I'm very disappointed in the president.
Okay.
In the entire administration in general. Today is internationally recognized as Registered Nurse Day.
RN Day.
Yet the president has not deemed it necessary to make an official proclamation.
Oh, he hates women.
It must be. I mean, that's lame.
No, I think so.
Annual worldwide event held on March 19th, honoring specialty nursing certification by memorializing the birthday of the late Greta Madden Stiles, an international pioneer of nursing certification. I'm doing this for my nurse friends. You understand?
I think you should.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah.
Hello, nurse.
Who takes care of me when I'm sick? And then what I want. Oh, here's something. Although it really belongs in tech news, but this is just stuff that I'm learning over here. We're in an international environment here. Speak English, speak Dutch. Some people German. But I, of course, am here. There's a lot more activity on my smartphone, which I'm now kind of regretting. Because exactly what forget the tracking and all that stuff. It's just everyone is texting you all day. Everybody. My friends. Oh, yeah.
How do they have your number?
Well, I've had the same number. Well, they're my friends. I've had the same number for years.
Why aren't they just texting you when you're in Austin then?
Well, because I'm here and they know I'm here. And it's like, oh, come hang out, whatever. You know what it is. You know what it's like.
No, not really.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, forgot. You have no friends.
I have no friends. I stay at home all the time.
Yeah. But I'm using this iPhone 6.
I stay at home working on the show.
Here, yeah. I'm out there I'm groveling in the dishes for stories, okay? When you use the iOS thing, that's the Apple, the iPhone, if you want to switch to a different language, or if you, God forbid, would want to, type some Dutch and then some English, the predictive text and the spelling, you have to switch keyboards. And the Dutch and the American English keyboard are exactly the same. But you have to tap on the thing, switch to a different keyboard. Otherwise, it starts predicting stupid words. And you cannot just if you use OS 10, well, then you don't have any predictive text or spelling.
Well, then so you're complaining about what you like.
Well, no, I'm complaining that on OS 10, you can easily just start typing any language you want, and the OS recognizes it and spell checks appropriately, even if you're doing mixed languages. I'm just pointing out a huge flaw.
Well, there's only so many lines of code they can shove in those phones.
How hard can it be? Please. And then the only other thing I have is from my sister. Just some useful information.
All right, I'm there.
Just some cultural things from the EU that you would not hear on any other show. In Italy, most women do not use tampons.
Okay, they use a different brand?
No, that would be Tampax. No, tampons.
Do they use?
They use sanitary napkins.
Pads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find this distressing.
Why?
Well, why? Exactly. Why?
No, why do you give a crap?
Well, but it's horrible. Why do I give a crap?
Why is it horrible?
Because I think these women
what women use for eons.
But if they were educated about what products there are, I just find that very strange.
Yeah, they get stuck in your ways.
I'm sorry. I get stuck in my... All right.
Amen. Fist bump.
Yeah, I really cannot get worked up about this story.
I know you can't get worked up about it, but it's just something you won't hear anywhere else.
This is true, but I got one that no one's going to hear anywhere else either.
All right, take us out of here, JC.
Okay, here is the story of the day. We have a clip, and this is the backgrounder, and it is the human trafficking bill they've been trying to push through the Senate that everyone was in agreement on, and then they all of a sudden they began to disagree on it, and I'll explain what happened.
Now to a large but often hidden issue in America and why solving it is getting caught up in congressional gridlock. More than 100,000 American children and teens are currently estimated to be victims of sex trafficking. In the past month, senators from both parties had come together on a bill to combat the problem and help victims. It was to be a shining example of bipartisanship, but has now hit a major political wall.
Democrats owe these victims, not lobbyists, help. Help the Senate is now so close to passing.
It's insane to keep going forward on these votes that everyone knows are going to turn out the same way.
Party leaders dug in this morning as the Senate standoff over the human trafficking bill entered its second week. The measure initially had wide bipartisan backing. It creates a fund for U.S. victims of trafficking who are often forced into prostitution. And it toughens fines and penalties for so-called Johns who buy services. But the dispute is centered on a provision banning any funds from paying for a victim's abortion. Democrats acknowledged today they originally missed that provision, that an aide did not flag it. But Minority Whip Dick Durbin and others charge Republicans deliberately made the wording obscure.
There was a representation made to several senators that there was nothing else in the bill to be concerned about other than a few listed issues, and this was not included.
In turn, Republicans like Deb Fisher of Nebraska deny ill intent.
To have the other side come out and say they didn't read the bill, they were caught off guard, come on.
Okay.
All right, so we have this sex trafficking bill. If you start to look into it, you'll find that there's been one of these almost every year, and there's been a million variations of these sex trafficking bills, and they never get passed. And they always have.
Well, it would ruin their business there in Congress.
This is exactly what no one wants to talk about. This is what's going on. They've increased the penalties for Johns, which is a problem. I can't find the exact what they're going to do, but I know this. The one aspect of the bill, if you're a pimp, life in prison.
What?
So, life in prison.
Okay. Regardless of the severity of your traffic. I mean, no trafficking is good, of course.
Yes.
But
so you're a pimp.
Is a pimp a trafficker or an exploiter?
Or is he
just a businessman?
He's a trafficker.
Okay, that's trafficking. Okay, all right. That's not. He's not selling. He's renting. He's renting them, not selling them.
They bring this bill out, and they have a. We're all for this. And if you buy again, I would ask anyone just to look up sex trafficking bill in Congress, and you'll find there was one in 2000. There's one in the 90s, a bunch of them in the 90s, 2003, the 2013 bill, which was thrown out. And they're never ending. And one side or the other takes the hit for not letting it get passed. In this case, it's the Democrats because they're the minority. And if you're the majority,
they've got more pimps, apparently.
Well, this time. But the whole thing is that these guys, these senators and the Congress in general, use hookers.
Yes.
It's just a known fact. They're always getting busted. If they're not gay and using gay hookers, they're using these girls. And they're not going to pass this bill.
Hold on a second.
On the best podcast in the universe.
It's fact. It's a well-known fact.
They're not going to pass any of these bills ever. Can't
they just take that? Can they just take the John part out?
No, they don't want this to John or no John. I don't even think that's the issue. They just don't want to stop these young girls from becoming hookers because they get to use their services.
Because that's benefit number one of being in government.
Now, the thing was about, we didn't see this thing about abortion in here. This is the great little gimmick they threw into this.
Oh boy.
The idea is that, we can't
pass it because there's some abortion shit in there.
There's an abortion issue in here. That means the Republicans won't change because they have to stay the course. What difference does it make? And the Democrats can't approve it, and so they're going to create a filibuster. These laws never. If you have a filibuster-proof Congress, these laws never show up, by the way. And now, while we didn't read the bill, which is another thing.
My favorite.
We weren't told by a staffer, the guys who are supposed to look this over. Turns out this morning, the staffer who was supposed to look this over looked it over. It's Amy Klobuchar's assistant. Looked it over, found the abortion thing right off the bat, and everybody knew about it.
Really?
And he made a mistake, I guess, and blabbed. And so all the news stories today is, Klobuchar's assistant. Oh, yeah, we knew about this. So their whole excuse is bullcrap. And the whole thing is obvious, which makes it even more obvious that they talk a big game in Congress. They do not want to pass this bill.
Of course not.
Prostitution is prostitution, and they're not going to deal with it because I think they're just a bunch of douchebags.
Right, but
that's my analysis.
I think thank you.
Nobody, by the way, on any other show will ever discuss this.
A bunch of whoremongering douchebags in Washington, D.C.? Yeah.
It won't be discussed.
No. There's not much more to say about it, unfortunately, than that. But yeah. And I think you should separate prostitution from trafficking. I just think there's two different things.
No, they are. But the way this is usually written, it's really out to get them. I mean, if you do it and you have the John provision in there, the Johns aren't trafficking. They got nothing to do with traffic.
Exactly.
But they're going to get big fines or thrown in the Slammer.
Named and shamed.
In San Rafael back in the 70s when there was a prostitution problem in the Bay Area.
Mm-hmm. And how can it be a problem? There were not enough?
No, it was just the opposite. What happened? Some Berkeley judge made some stay. I remember this. There's some Berkeley judge made some sort of a stay about some small aspect of the law, and it, for all practical purposes, legalized prostitution in Berkeley and Oakland and most of the East Bay for about 3 years.
Wow.
And it became very humorous to drive down University Avenue when you would see 100 girls.
Oh, man.
But meanwhile, in San Rafael, where there were women working, this is during the Depression of the 70s, there were a lot of women there, but the newspaper, I worked with the guy who was the editor of that paper at the time, they would name and shame.
Wow.
And it did.
It's so strange. It's growing up in the Netherlands. Now, this is changing because, of course, they have to harmonize with the rest of the EU, all the member states. But prostitution has always been legal, tax-paying, medical benefits, etc. And it was actually culturally always seen as, well, if men who are if we want to keep the family together and have the pillars of society in place, and if men need to go and go bang a hooker, then it's okay, and so we're not going to make a big deal out of it, and we just let it be for what it is. That was really the culture. I think to some degree it may still be that it's as normal as going to the doctor.
It's a reasonable. I never found it to be unreasonable, their approach.
Well, there's the trafficking angle, and you and I aren't women, so we can't really say that every woman who says she likes it. I don't think we're qualified.
Yeah, no, I did it. I caught myself.
Amen. Fist bump.
I'm sorry.
Come on, you can't play it after I said it.
I'm sorry. My finger slipped.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, so that's your story. This is what's going on, and we just won't come to grips with any of these realities. Trafficking is bad, especially when white slavery and all the rest of it, which is really a horrible, and it seems more problematic in the Middle East than any place else. In Russia, they bring the girls in from there.
Well, there's a lot of the Baltic states traffic women here. Yeah. I've been keeping a close eye on the Iranian situation, the negotiations. Now that we have at least some view of what we believe is going on, and the intent is perhaps to actually make sure Iran gets a nuclear bomb. And then there's this Cotton letter, and Cotton, he's really being pumped up. He's being
as it were.
Yeah, supposedly he's going to be the vice presidential nominee.
Yeah,
which
sure.
I think, well, yeah, that's what.
Well, if the Democrats have their way, he will be.
Right. But it seems that we're now onto a certain strategy with Iran regarding Syria, and one of the bennies, I guess, we've given Iran is we have taken them off our list of states that sponsor terror. And also not on the list is Hezbollah, which would make sense because that's apparently
that's them.
It's them. Same guys, different location. And I caught a couple clips. First, here's John Bolton, was he ambassador to the United Nations?
Yes.
And another guy who would love to be president, but that's not going to happen. But he likes. He's not always on some corporate or governmental message, which makes him dangerous.
You don't believe this formatting excuse, do you, is why Iran and Hezbollah is out of this list of terrorists?
It's a flat lie. The format of this year's report is exactly the same as last year's report. The people who would say this is a format change are weasels. And so you ask yourself...
Liars. Lying weasels.
Lying weasels.
Lying weasels, I tell you.
You ask yourself...
That's some strong words for Mr. Bolton, isn't it? Lying weasels. Lying weasels. There were nothing but lying weasels, people. I hate you.
Of this year's report is exactly the same as last year's report. The people who would say this is a format change are weasels. And so you ask yourself...
Liars. Lying weasels.
Lying weasels. You ask yourself, how could this happen? And I think there's a pretty clear explanation. I think the Iranian negotiators told the American negotiators, you got to start going easy on us on this terrorism stuff, because what they want is not simply to be freed from the sanctions that were imposed because of the nuclear program. They want to be freed from the sanctions that have been imposed 30-plus years because of their state sponsorship of terrorism. So what we're having now is an Orwellian example of disappearing references to Iran and its proxy Hezbollah from the terrorism. This was a concession, I think, by the administration relating to the nuclear negotiations you will not find in the signed deal.
All right. So we'll keep our eye on that. And then we have Mr. Cotton, Tom Cotton, and he was on one of the news shows, maybe in CBS or Fox, I don't remember. And he, of course, is the head signatory of the letter from the 47.
Bob, I and 46 other senators are focused on stopping Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. And we wanted to be crystal clear that Iran's leaders got the message that in our constitutional system, while the president negotiates deals, Congress has to approve them for them to be lasting and binding. And I have to say, I'm surprised by Secretary's comments this morning, because just a few days ago, he testified before the Senate to say that any deal would not be legally binding. And now he says that future Congresses can't change a mere executive agreement if we disagree with them, or if a future president disagrees with them. That's not the way our constitutional system works, and it's certainly not the way we should be negotiating with Iran.
How does it make America stronger to tell them that any agreement they make with this administration may not be worth the paper it's written on and may not last beyond this presidency? How does that make things better?
It's a simple fact of our Constitution that if Congress doesn't approve that deal, then it may not last. And the deal that is on the table right now is a very bad deal. It would allow Iran to have thousands and thousands of centrifuges to continue enriching uranium. It would do nothing to the military dimensions of Iran's nuclear program. It's excluded entirely the ballistic missile program that Iran has, which is designed solely to strike the United States right here at home, and it could have a 10-year sunset.
So he's a 10-year sunset is interesting. He clearly is ringing a bell. He thinks that the way if I listen to him with the no agenda ears, I hear him saying, hey, these guys want to give them a nuke. This is probably not a good idea. But the kicker is how this is spread out. Now we have Admiral Mike Mullen, and he gets an interesting question. Is he more afraid of ISIL?
Admiral Mullen, do you fear Iran long-term more than ISIS?
I do. Actually, I think Iran is a...
This is a change of heart. What happened to the worst thing is ISIL. Now
that's, I think, has been turned down weeks ago.
But now,
once they started pushing them back, and we let the Iranians bring their generals in to control things over there. I think that messaging has changed.
I think that's what Mike Mullen actually says here.
Much more difficult challenge, an incredibly complex country that we don't understand very well. We've had no relations with
our
them.
Intelligence agencies.
Yeah, we don't understand it very well.
How can we not understand them?
Didn't we put the guy in there?
Hold on a second.
Didn't we put the guy in there?
Said is an indictment of the intelligence community.
Yes. He's not fit to wear a uniform, which he doesn't anymore. He's retired, isn't he?
Yes, I think
challenge, an incredibly complex country that we don't understand very well. We've had no
you're right, it's quite an indictment.
Relations with them for 35 years. There's a complexity inside that country that is represented by enormous tension on the part of President Rouhani, who's considered to be a reformer, was somewhat of a surprise selectee as president, and the ideological faction led by the supreme leader, and it is the supreme leader and his ideological group, if you will, that lead in the judiciary and lead with respect to the military, and this whole focus on the nuclear deal is part of where I think President Rouhani wants to get, so that possibly he's got a chance with elections next year, with respect to those who will select the next supreme leader, with parliamentary elections in the spring, to possibly turn it in a more constructive, reform direction for the country of Iran.
I love the use of the word "turn it." Possibly turn. It sounds like we're eyeing for some regime change there with this election, and coming up in the spring. Spring is always fun to do things. It was a little bit warmer. We could, more demonstrations.
It's on the list of places we're supposed to take over and rebelize.
And then, of course, we have Iran, we have Russia, we have Syria with the Russian port, and now it seems like we're back to we have to negotiate with Assad instead of kill him.
We are working very hard with other interested parties to see if we can reignite a diplomatic outcome. Why? Because everybody agrees there is no military solution. There is only a political solution.
Hold on a second. There's no military solution, only a political solution.
Well, I have that same clip incorporated in something I think is a very good little performance by the NewsHour.
Let's play it. What is it?
And I would play Assad Part 1, and we have that clip, and then a little more explanation, and then we're trying to get to then they go to a backstory. This is a very interesting report.
Anything that came from outside the borders was only words and interference that disappears after a while.
That last was aimed at Secretary of State John Kerry. Sunday on CBS, he suggested any effort toward a transition in Syria would include Assad after all.
And I am convinced that with the efforts of our allies and others, there will be increased pressure on Assad.
And you'd be willing to negotiate with him?
Well, we have to negotiate in the end.
Kerry's words raised eyebrows, but U.S. officials quickly insisted President Obama's policy has not changed from this in 2012.
President al-Assad has lost legitimacy. He needs to step down.
So I think somewhere some kind of deal was done. Something happened that we missed. Or maybe during these negotiations with Iran, something came up. But there's a reason for this.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's something that's up. We don't know what it is. They're scrambling like crazy because apparently I'm guessing that Kerry is presenting it improperly because he thinks he runs the place.
That's an educated guess.
He thinks he runs the place. So he says whatever he wants. And they showed. You didn't get to see what the visuals were on this particular package, but they had after Kerry said this, and he said it twice now that he said that your clip was a different setting than mine, and so he's said this a couple times. And then you see the panic room with Jen Psaki running to the podium, and she's trying to make excuses. Yeah, she said something. Oh, well, you didn't mean it, sort of thing. And the joke is that she's supposed to be, I thought, working for Kerry. That's her job.
Yeah,
but she appears to me to be a stooge for the White House.
Oh no, well didn't she get the White House job? Yeah, she got the White House job. She just hasn't started there yet.
Well, yes, Jen Psaki, the redhead. Yeah,
I thought she got the pregnant one.
Right.
Yeah, I think she got the White House gig. Yeah,
and Marie Harf's going to take over her job.
No, it's some other puppet.
Oh, okay.
No,
well, I'm not keeping up with the soap opera.
Well, hello.
But she's still supposed to be working for Kerry.
Yeah, well, she's not doing a good job.
So she doesn't back Kerry up at all.
Before we move on, let me just go back because I have a second clip, and then we can. This will fit perfectly, I think. You're hearing two journalists jamming, ladies and gentlemen. We're jamming our clips.
Jamming.
Hey, John, so we jammed some clips, man.
Jamming, man. Jamming.
Jamming, baby.
Jamming.
Here is Charlie Rose with Brennan, the drone meister himself, director CIA, at the CFR, the Council on Foreign Relations, doing one of those little chit-chats where they're all drinking and yes, we rule the world. And journalists there, too. Wolf Blitzer.
They're swapping around their portfolios.
Exactly. Then he's also talking about how to get Assad out, and maybe we can get our Iranian brethren to help us.
And it's the policy of this administration that Assad is really not part of Syria's future as we see it.
I love how we do that, by the way. It is the policy of this administration that Assad, I mean, you can't be a part of that country. You cannot be a part of your country, even if you've been democratically elected. It is our policy.
That's because it's just the way we see it.
Yeah, we see it. It is our policy that you can't be part of that future. So when we look over your way, you better be gone, son.
And so we need.
But do we need now for Assad to be in power temporarily, unless there's a negotiated settlement, because we need them as an opposition to ISIL as well?
Yes, the crisis in Syria, which it is both from a humanitarian standpoint and just from a countrywide standpoint, is not going to be resolved in the battlefield in my mind. We need to be able to continue to support those elements within Syria that are dedicated to moving Assad and his ilk out. But there has to be some type of political pathway to the future. None of us, Russia, the United States, coalition, and regional states, wants to see a collapse of the government and political institutions in Damascus. And what we do want is for there to be a future of Damascus that is going to bring into power a representative government that is going to try to address the grievances that exist throughout the country.
So now, when all of a sudden there's a coalition, Iran, Russia, us, if I heard him correctly.
Well, that's what he said. I'm not completely buying it.
Well, unless something's being divvied up, and maybe Iran is going to say, listen, we'll take over this business over here. We'll bring Hezbollah back in here. I don't know. I'm just making up shit. Something happened. I have no idea.
Well, I don't either. We're not getting enough information.
Well, let's listen to this. What is this second clip from Democracy Now?
This is the PBS NewsHour.
Oh, okay. We're jamming the PBS clip now.
The push to oust Assad began as peaceful protests in March 2011 amid the Arab Spring. But the regime launched a brutal crackdown against demonstrators that in turn triggered a violent uprising across the country. Moderate rebels initially made some headway, but were hurt by internal divisions and a lack of Western support, and the intrusion of extremist groups like the Al-Nusra Front. At the same time, Iran and Russia bolstered Damascus with weapons, money, and expertise. And Iran's Lebanese ally, Hezbollah, sent thousands of fighters into Syria. Then, adding to the chaos, the Islamic State group seized large sections of northern Syria last summer.
There's an interesting little background to bring us up to speed. They only do these because this is not a new story.
No, this is just reminding you of the so-called truth.
Exactly.
Now, remember, kids, here's what happened. First, there was peaceful demonstrations. No NGOs or anything. Nothing involved with that.
This is like they have at the beginning of the dramas that previously
on this bull crap.
So this is the previously on, so we can catch up. Then, of course, the last clip has the theme again, which and you have to see that this one's visually. They show buildings falling over. It is the most outrageous.
Oh, okay. They're complete on all of the mind tricks.
Yeah, they're just as a mess they're showing us.
B-roll bonanza.
They get totally. So play this part and you get there.
But 2 rounds of peace talks have already failed, and many of the protesters say it's crushing to watch, helplessly.
I always feel like I hope it's a dream. I hope it's a dream.
And I'm afraid even to come and connect with the people because I don't want to see it. I don't want to think about its reality, but unfortunately, it's a reality.
And for now, the reality is that much of Syria has been blasted to ruins as the war enters its 5th year.
Yeah, I got an email from Sub70.
Rubble.
Yeah, rubbleize. Oh, yeah. Oh, of course. No, we're rubbleizing the whole place. Why do we have to do this?
We're in the mood.
I could not have said it better.
I was thinking about
we're in the mood. I'm in the mood for rubble.
I was thinking about this.
Hey, John, you know what I do after dinner? Let's go make some rubble, man. Let's go rubbleize something.
Let's go rubbleize something.
Rubbleize that country.
I was thinking about why do we have to do this, and then I think about the Wesley Clark 7.
Yeah,
and then I think about and then he keeps showing this.
Should we play the Wes Clark 7 real quick?
Yeah, you might as well.
So I came back to see him a few weeks later, and by that time we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, "Are we still going to war with Iraq?" And he said, "Oh, it's worse than that." He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, and he said, I just got this down from upstairs, meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today, and he said, this is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years. Starting with Iraq, and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran.
Woo! Here it is. Here's what Fletcher needs to do.
Let's get ready to rebelize!
Yeah, no, you don't need to do that. You get sued.
Oh, right. We can't.
That character who does that, that's the reason you never hear anybody else do it, is like lawsuit crazy.
Really? Because the guy who hosts The Voice here in Holland?
Yeah,
that's how he starts with "Let's get ready to rumble." He starts the show that way.
Once I can't for some reason I'm not.
Oh, I'm sure he has somehow a trademark copyrighted something.
If he found out about it, he'd find himself with a big
excellent
court.
Excellent.
Yeah, I found out about that when I was working in radio years ago because I said it
back when you were
say that ever.
back when you were an AM jock.
No, I said
WOLD.
Public radio, always public radio.
Public radio. Oh.
Well, we're on this subject. I might as well play this. This is kind of still on track because the Tikrit clip that I have, which is about the taking back Tikrit.
Yes.
Play it, and with it in mind that the punchline is the very last word. Make sure not to step on it.
Okay.
And this, to me, was just like, wow, they're finally coming around to no agenda.
In Iraq, a government offensive against Islamic State fighters in Tikrit was put on hold today. The Iraqi military and Shiite militias have already made big gains, but the Interior Minister said they expect bitter fighting ahead.
More than 90% of our objectives are going according to plans and timings. What has remained is a very small part, which is the center of Tikrit. The militants planted bombs in our government offices and buildings. By halting military operations, we also aim to give an opportunity to civilians and families to get away from the battlefield.
Tikrit is Saddam Hussein's hometown, and his once lavish tomb has been wrecked by the fighting. What's left are mostly piles of concrete rubble.
Rubble. We score again.
Show this picture of this. What it appears, you could see that it was probably architected because there's things that are blown to smithereens that are just too nice looking. And so they've rubbleized the Tikrit. And I was thinking about this because you brought it up a second ago, and I thought about this. Why are we just rubbleizing everything? And I remember in the early days after 9/11, there was some commentary that went on about bombing them into the Stone Age.
But that's a Bushism, is it not?
It may have been Bush, but it may have been somebody. It's never really been repeated. But I think that's what we're up to. I think that's what we're doing. I think we are
rubbleizing.
We are rubbleizing. We're bombing them into the Stone Age because if you look at these pictures, all you see is stones, rocks, and pieces.
And I'll say, whether it's true or not, having that visual will at least give everybody here the illusion that it's all been rubbleized. I don't believe it.
Obviously, it has not all been rubbleized. Like some of the major cities are still fine and everything. But there's been a lot more than a fair share of rubbleization that's taken place.
Well, you caught it early on. The rubbleization. Now they're just saying it. Now
Yeah, now should that
they're just coming right out and saying it. Yeah.
Rubblize the place.
Yeah. Rubblize it. We got to play these more often, John.
Rubblize.
Rubblize. Oh, man.
So that's what I think is going on.
Well, we may be rubbalizing Ukraine, and we have a plan for it. This, of course, is why Juncker the Drunker, what is the official title? Is he president of the European Council? Yeah.
He's the president of one of those. They have so many different operations.
I think he's the...
By the way, I do have a clip, which I'll play after you're done with this, where there's not a lot of reporting on this. It was shown on PBS and I think Democracy Now!, but that's as far as it got, where they built this $1 billion building, the ECB.
Oh, yeah. The people are burning cars down.
They're burning the place down. If they could get to the building, I'm sure they'd torch it.
Yeah.
But, you want to play the clip?
Yeah, absolutely. Hold on a second.
This is Erin Aid. And she has a little kicker at the end. This is protests in ECB in its new building.
Yeah, got it.
And speaking of volatility, Wednesday in Frankfurt, thousands of anti-capitalist protesters clashed with riot police near the ECB's new $1.4 billion headquarters. Violence erupted during the ceremonial opening of the billion-dollar skyscraper for the ECB, that's their new home, and protesters set fire to barricades and cars. Some 94 police officers were injured by stones and tear gas, while rally organizers say that 100 of the 7,000 protesters were injured by police. During the inaugural ceremony, ECB President Mario Draghi said, quote, "European unity is being strained and the ECB has become the focal point for those frustrated with this situation." Obviously, this hasn't been the case in the U.S., at least not yet.
Yeah, well, I agree. Yes, John, very good clip. I think we are at a turning point. Mark it down. March 19th, 2015. I believe we are now at the turning point. We have school students staging walkouts in the United States. That, to me, was already quite an indicator. But the slaves are restless. Now they're tired of it. Big demonstrations in Spain. The bank run on another Spanish bank. The slaves are sick and tired. There's no work. Social services are being cut everywhere across Europe. The Netherlands, people are hurting bad. And they're used to, this like, hey, the safety net will catch me. No. And they're overextended. Well, this is the beginning, and people are going to start taking to the streets. And that is only partially the reason why the president of the European Commission, Jean-Claude Juncker, the Drunker, wants an EU army for Ukraine. Yeah, I'm sorry, peacekeepers. But it might be handy to have them around in case, slaves get restless here back in the EU.
The Ukrainian parliament has passed a bill which calls for deployment of EU and UN peacekeepers to the country's war-torn eastern areas. 341 members of parliament out of the 450-seat assembly supported the bill, according to the parliament's press service. The bill, which was submitted earlier this week by Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko, anticipates peacekeeping and security missions in the Donetsk and Luhansk regions, which will observe the implementation of the Minsk ceasefire agreement. The deal was reached on February 12th by the leaders of Ukraine, Germany, Russia, and France. Ukraine's Security and Defense Council has appealed to the UN and EU to deploy peacekeepers along the border which divides the militant-held Donetsk region and government-controlled areas, and along some parts of the Russia-Ukraine border.
There we go. Right in accordance with Articles 27 and 28 of the Lisbon Treaty, as presented to the public and voted down twice by the Netherlands and France, and then a do-over, and Ireland had to do it over, and then we got it because everyone agreed. And there's your European army, which just be careful. These peacekeepers, sometimes they're sent to keep the peace in your own country.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah.
None of this is good.
No, it really isn't. And the news here is so bad, man. It's just so bad. I mean, they really just take the press releases. They really do.
Yeah, well, we do the same thing.
Did you see that?
How's our news any better?
No. In fact, we do it all. There was a big story about Russia having to fire, I think, Ketchum. Or I don't know if they had to, but they fired Ketchum PR as their number one, as their PR company. So the question is,
I was under the impression that was Putin's PR company. I read that article too.
Oh, that I may be wrong. Let me take a look. You're right. Is there a difference?
I think there is. I think Putin would have a personal PR liaison that would be promoting him. They obviously have done a crap job. Now, I don't know if the Russians or Putin in particular, or anybody else, is aware of the fact that there's really only 2 or 3 PR companies. There's Omnicron.
And
Omnicom. I don't know. Why do I say that? I say that all
because
the time.
they used to own a part of my company. That's how I know. I know the chairman.
Omnicom, WPP.
That's it. There's only 2 now.
Publicis, I think is
they were purchased by WPP.
Well, there's a third one. There's a small third one out of France.
That got rolled up. We've had this whole conversation.
Yeah, maybe. Well, whatever the case is, let's just say those are the 2 big ones. And those, because there's still little independent guys here and there. I mean, to hope, then they only start up a PR company nowadays to get bought by one of these other 2 guys. And you get bought up eventually.
Right.
So there's 2 of these companies that own all the other PR companies, and I don't know which one Ketchum belongs to, but I believe it's WPP, but it could be the other one. And there's nothing. This whole thing is one giant conflict of interest because you have one, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is.
If I'm working for one of the WPP operations and you're working for the other WPP operation, and I've got pro-Russian separatists and you've got anti-Russian separatists as your PR clients.
I'm shocked to find that gambling is going on in here.
Yeah,
it's just like a conflict of interest.
Yeah,
you're both working for WPP.
Yes,
and the funny thing,
we have a Chinese wall, John. A Chinese wall.
There's no Chinese anybody involved in this. So I went to an event once, and the WPP had a bunch of different companies that were doing their whatever they do, and then some guy gave me his card, and the card was a WPP card.
Right.
So WPP also represents itself as the public relations.
Well, of course.
So they got them. This reminds. I'm going to just gripe for a minute here. This reminds me of the scam, and the biggest bullcrap publisher to me has always been Pearson.
And we can talk about them actually in a minute.
And Pearson also is doing the Common Core stuff. Mm-hmm. But Pearson decided, because there's no antitrust action that takes place in the United States anymore, and this is what's really causing a lot of this problem. This, and performance enhancement drugs have ruined sports, and this is ruining business. So Pearson decides to buy everyone. So they buy, and they've got this is genius, by the way they do this. So they buy Prentice Hall, they buy Macmillan. These are all the computer publishing companies. They buy Prentice Hall, they buy Macmillan, they buy every computer publishing company, the Peach Pit Press. They buy everybody except O'Reilly.
It's called a roll-up.
They roll all of them together. They buy the main one they buy is Q. That's, I think, the first one they bought. And the difference between all these operations, now we've got an immediate conflict of interest, because if I do a book, here's what the real scam was. If anybody does a book for one of these publishers, which are all owned by Pearson, and the book becomes semi-successful, they immediately clone the book and give it to Q.
Yes.
Because all the small publishers...
Yeah, they're going to get screwed. They have payouts. They have their earnouts.
The regular publishing companies give a royalty of 10 to 15%, either based on wholesale or cover price, depends on the deal. And so if your book sold 100,000 copies, you'd get royalties on those 100,000 copies. Q, they never did that. There was always just a book. There was for hire writing. So they give you, here, you're going to write this book. Here's $5,000. Here's $10,000. Write this book. Oh, by the way, this book is the one that's the bestseller. We want you to write that book. And so they write the bestseller again, with their own words. It's not plagiarized, but it's the same book. And they bring that book out. And then who do you think gets all the advertising?
Yeah.
So they pull the advertising from your book, which is going to be a bestseller, and they push the advertising over to Q, and Q makes all the money, and they make more profits, and so they get more money into the corporate coffers of the mothership. It's this unbelievable scam. And, I don't know. Well, okay. Whatever. I got my book sold. Yeah. And so all these writers are, not bitching about this or refusing to do business with them at all. And it's just unbelievable. And this whole thing is just, and this is what's happening with public relations now. It's just a complete outrageous.
Yeah.
It's a It's a fraud.
Yeah.
So
it's the news.
By the way, they still charge the same old amount, $30,000 a month, sometimes higher.
Yeah.
Putin was probably paying $1 million a year to get no service.
Well, he did get that big New York Times op-ed, which they wrote 2 years ago.
Well, I guess
he was actually talking about Crimea back in the day. It's interesting to go back and read that.
Yeah, I should go back and read it.
You're talking about Common Core. Just the two quick emails before we thank our execs and associate execs for the day. In the morning, sir. This is from producer Chris Mader. Just catching up on show 703, 704, and want to share some information concerning the PARCC, or the PARC tests here in New Jersey. Are you familiar with the Partnership for Assessment of Readiness for College and Careers testing, John?
Yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah, and it's owned by Pearson.
Right.
This weekend, we had a St. Patrick's Day party. My aunt and uncle were both here. Both are New Jersey teachers. My aunt, Northern New Jersey, teaches second grade. My uncle in Central Jersey and teaches high school. The topic, park, of course. Or as the teachers joke, what is park spelled backwards? Crap. There you go. Those teachers. They were worried because the test didn't affect her. Oh, hold on a second. They were asking how my daughter did with her testing. She's in the 4th grade, and I was really confused. I told her not to worry because the test didn't affect her grade. The principal told them that it does. The vice principal told them it didn't matter, and her teacher said if kids did bad, she would lose her job. No pressure, right? This is what the teacher said to the class. My aunt's class of 2nd graders didn't officially have to take the test, but rather a practice test. She said it was plagued with tech glitches. She was unable to start the test for 2 hours due to sitting on the phone with Pearson because her login didn't work. Once she was able to start the test, the kids were getting stressed out because they would answering a question, click next, and the site would jump 3 or 4 questions ahead. This would show that the child never answered those questions and they were unable to go back. Worse, the school doesn't have enough computers, and there are talks about raiding the teacher's retirement fund to set off the expense. This is crazy. Yeah, right?
It's great.
I don't know how great
they pull this off. Thank you, Bill and Melinda Gates. This is very helpful.
Good work, Melinda. And then another quick note here. Hello, Adam. Want to thank both you and John for the recent shows. This is from Annie. Send pictures, Annie. Which have been top notch. I sent in a donation of $40 via PayPal, but it didn't allow me to send any message. Just want to thank you both for your courage. As a soon-to-be teacher, I am being forced to prepare students for the park. I am surprisingly the only person in my graduate program that sees any problem with it or voices my concern. Although I would share some deaf culture news, apparently ISIS is now using sign language to recruit. It's true, by the way. That's the new one. That's the new one. They got ISIS guys in the desert signing on camera.
Yeah. It's probably a suggestion given to him by WPP.
Damn those guys! They never do it right. What are we paying for this? What $500,000 a month for this shit? And with that, I would like to thank you for your courage and say, in the morning to you, John C., where the C stands for copyright Dvorak.
And good morning to you, in the morning to you, that is, and ITM. Jeez, what was the...
What happened?
I was too busy grabbing stuff. In the morning to you, Adam. In the morning to all ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and knights out there.
In the morning to everyone in the chat room, noagendastream.com, being very helpful today. Nice to see you all there, depleting your $9.2 million worth of value. And in the morning to our artists, we want to thank Joshua, who helped us with the art for... Was this an evergreen we used, John? I think it was, wasn't it?
No, I think it was an old piece. There's from a couple of shows back.
Oh, okay. NoAgendaArtGenerator.com is where you can always find the latest submissions.
And we should mention, we forgot to mention, but somebody came up with some really good pieces, and then it was just one check online. You can see these were just...
Yeah, they were stolen. Altered. Yeah, they were stolen. Exactly.
And we can't use just somebody... You can't just take a stolen piece of art and then drop the generator on and throw our logo on top of it. You got to change it, or you got to make it funnier. You got to do something with it. You can't just use it and then...
Right.
You know, unless you know it to be public domain, and that's stuff before 1920, more or less. And so, no, we can't use these pieces. And this guy did about 6 of them. A couple of them are hilarious.
Yeah, very funny, but we looked at it.
But they were somebody else's funny.
And we checked that. But
yeah, it's very easy to do, by the way. You can check it yourself.
Joshua did the Yeah No Agenda train tanker.
Oh, yeah, that was quite funny.
Well, the font was really nice that he used, the type font and everything.
Yeah, it was very well done.
Yeah, it was well done.
And by the way,
simple,
when you put something like "Yeah, No" in a paint font on something, it's not stolen art. I mean, yeah, the picture of the tank car was probably taken from somewhere.
Yeah.
But let's thank a few people. We have 5 executive producers and 4 executive producers, 1 associate executive producer. Nobody took advantage of the Fletcher offer.
Yeah, what is the Fletcher offer? It was only in the newsletter, I believe.
We talked about it on the show, and we talked about it after the show. John Fletcher says that he will do for us a shout out for people who want to use something funny for their ringtone.
Right.
For example, the Dvorak. You could use that, or Curry. You got the Dvorak one.
Yeah,
you can play it.
Yeah, I'm getting it.
And it could be my ringtone. It could be somebody shouting Dvorak, which would be kind of cute, or Fat Lady for that matter.
Dvorak.
See, that would be better than some of these.
Bitch!
Oh, I'm sorry, it was the wrong.
What was it? You could use that if your wife was, kind of what they said there.
That will never be made available. No, maybe this one.
Fat lady!
Yeah, that one. There you go.
Yeah. So that is, and it's a pie.
And what I wanted to do is I wanted to put the collection of the, once we have a couple of them, put them out there, and then people like, GX2 or anyone else who feels like it, try, put them all together in a song.
Yeah, and also, you might get lucky if your name's John, and somebody says, "Oh, I'll buy name John," and
you're buying it for a lot of people.
You could play. Yeah, you could do. A lot of people could use it. It's just kind of a. Anyway, so Fletcher says he'll do it.
All right. Oh, cool.
So let's thank a few people. Sir Rob Alter in Kansas City, Missouri, came in with $705.
Wait, we forgot to mention the amount for the. Is it on the donation page?
It's a pie donation at 31415.
Okay, I'm sorry. Got it. Okay.
And it'll be. I'll put it on the support page eventually.
Yeah. #FletcherFest.
So Rob Alter, ITM gentlemen, my birthday was March 17th, and I thought I'd donate to the show as a present to myself.
Aww.
I believe this pushes me into Viscount ranking.
Indeed.
Thank you both for the best podcast in the universe. Keep on.
Yeah, I'm going to give him some karma, being the top today.
You've got karma.
And, of course, he'll also be the sole member of the 705 Club, a double hit. Double credit.
Hit. 705. David Johnson in Brownton, Wisconsin, 32174. Last year I was listening to No Agenda Show while biking across the hot hill country of Texas when suddenly John fires up a rain stick. I thought I'd enjoy some cool rain, but nothing was forecasted save more heat. And an hour later, I'm huddled under a church shelter waiting for a monster storm with hail and tornado warnings to pass. Thanks, John. Anyway, I'm now off in another one of my digital nomad adventures where I work out of a hotel during the week and bicycle tour over long weekends. Seeing how these trips are awesome, or an awesome way to hemorrhage cash, I figured I'd donate early before I feel the pain. Adam made a recent request for a driver. I thought, hey, I have the flexibility to do that. I'm a pro at living on the road. Tip being your own blankets. Those comforters and blankets in hotels are almost never washed. Even in nice hotels. So I'm seeing you going into the Four Seasons with your own bedding.
Hello.
Well, I just think you guys don't even wash these things. I'm not going to sleep in the bed without my bedding.
Really? I'm checking in.
Sadly, that is, as far as my qualifications goes, I'm Adam's polar opposite in personality, and I'm definitely not female or attractive.
Yeah, this is a problem. Some problems with your proposal.
Adam, but one of us would probably kill the other inside of 2 weeks.
Yeah, probably.
It's my birthday on the 21st. That's my donation amount. I require no jingles, but I would gladly donate one to the second half of the show if that's allowed. So maybe the next time you consider delaying a jingle, bestow instead? We have no idea.
I think. Well, I'll do this for him then. I'll do.
Attention all human resources. Now entering second half of show.
Amen. Fist bump. You've got karma.
Render Tank in Los Angeles, California, 31337. Thank you for your courage. Please play the Climate Gate plus chemtrails.
To the gate, to the gate, to the climate gate.
We'll take a little break with the chemtrails or the Climate Gate jingle because I have a Climate Gate clip.
Oh, this is an interlude.
An interlude. Here we go. Global warming report from Boston.
Well, I was in donation mode. Here we go.
Boston has finally set a dubious new record: most snow in a single winter. The city got nearly 3 more inches on Sunday, pushing the seasonal total to 108.6 inches. That's more than 9 feet of snow, and the most since Boston began keeping records in 1872.
Oh no! Oh no! Say it's not, all right, if you're going to do that, then I have to play my my Climate Gate clip.
Demolished houses, uprooted trees, crushed cars. All the work of what's being called a monster cyclone that hit the island nation of Vanuatu in the South Pacific Ocean. The country's president says more than 90% of homes and buildings in the capital city have been destroyed.
Very emotional, very emotional.
Now, Vanuatu, do you recall us discussing this name in past programs?
Never recall this. When I saw the stories, that's an interesting. I looked it up where it is outside of New Zealand.
Well, we have discussed Vanuatu. Okay. It is the island where the climate conference was being held in the fictional account State of Fear, written by Michael Crichton. And the president of Vanuatu says climate change is to blame for this devastation on his island. It's just one of those things where you go,
coincidence? I think not.
That's a good one, huh? All right, onward. We have 2 left. Sir Richard Gardner in Chicago, Illinois, 23456, one of my favorite donations. A comment from Andrew Sawyer on episode 703 about being utterly exasperated with the news media, and our family and friends 100% buy in to all of it really struck a chord. I, too, am yet to turn 30, and I find it extremely hard to discuss any current events with anyone I know because I'm not all in with what's being spouted from the talking heads on CNN 24 hours a day. The hardest part is seeing family members get sucked into the same black hole and seemingly having no way to be able to drag them back out.
Yeah.
I shared JCD's PC Mag article on net neutrality on Facebook and received nothing but comments about me promoting domineering ISPs and preventing the next Facebook.
And Republicans.
Anyway, still adoring the show after all these years. Apologies again for the gap between donations. Take this donation as a signal of me beginning a monthly $50 donation to keep me on my toes. Sir Richard Gardner. P.S. I'm yet to order my ring since I've achieved knighthood October 2013. I'm still okay to, you can always put in the request and just mention that you were remiss.
I really love this type of note when someone says, hey, I'm living a more healthy life. I'm happier because of the show.
Yeah.
And actually, I saw that take place in front of my eyes the other day. A friend I've known her for a long time. And she was like, what is this IS stuff? And I start smiling. I say, well, bull crap is what it is. And I just went into my little mini spiel because I saw the opening was there, and you could see her physically go, her whole face relaxed, like, I'm so happy to hear you say this. That was seriously I'm so happy to hear you say this. It was really beautiful. Like, yeah, it was beautiful.
If you wake up with the blues, trying to fill your day with news, there's one thing you must remember: no agenda in the morning.
For a healthy, balanced news diet, try noagendashow.com.
And finally, we have, as our last associate executive producer for show 705, is Hendrik Schmidt in Utrecht. $200. I will mail, as this should yield my knight. I will mail. I don't know what that means. As this should yield my knighthood. Let me be known as Sir Hendrik, Knight of the Blank Saber.
Nice. Excellent. Well, I look forward to that.
We want to remind people we do a show on Sunday. It was a short week for Sunday's show, and hopefully do a little better. And that will be show 706. Go to Dvorak.org/NA. And think about the pie donation at 31415 and get yourself a shout out by the great John Fletcher.
Hashtag FletcherFest. 2 quick PR mentions. One is Sir Ramsey Kane. In the morning, I've printed up 1,000 No Agenda CDs. I'm packing them up in lots of 33 sets of 2 CDs. More details can be found on the website, noagendacd.com. I will happily supply long-haul truckers with as many CDs as they can eat if any are interested in handing them out and hitting truck stop denizens in the mouth. This, of course, refers to our conversation about the automization. No. Is that the word?
Driverless trucks.
Yeah.
And by the way, we got to know from a guy in Australia.
Yeah.
Who says that they have these driverless trucks already.
Yep.
And he sees a very grim future for the trucking industry, at least.
Was this the guy who told us about the corridor? This is the corridor that goes from south, from Mexico all the way up to Canada.
Well,
that's where they're already experimenting with some autonomous driving trucks?
No, I don't think he'd mentioned that corridor, but that corridor has been in the works forever. And people don't like it.
No, but that's all the eminent domain stuff.
But now that you mention it, since it's only supposed to be for trucks, it's probably would be where you experiment with driverless trucks.
Here it is: the Autonomous Friendly Corridor, Central North American Trade Corridor Association. It's an interesting website to check out. But we did already see a baby die when truck hit a wall. News report. So they're starting to demonize the truckers already. Just need a couple dead hooker stories, and we're good to go. So there's a special trucker page, which is a link in the show notes at 705.noagendanotes.com. And then secondarily, if you've not tried out noagendaplayer.com, it's definitely something. It's so good. It is. If you just want to send someone a clip or tweet a quick segment, there's links right there, and it goes straight into the player. Plays exactly from that spot. Even it works on the iPhone, so I think it works on everything. And if you find a segment that might be good for us to replay, like John, you and I talked about this, just something like a refresher of a certain topic or how something came to be, maybe we should see if that's worth trying for newer listeners.
Yeah. I think it's too hard to do.
Your enthusiasm is just killing me. Yeah, that's fantastic. Sure.
Dvorak.org.
Whatever.
/N.
Just trying to do my best as a producer here. Hey, whatever you do, make sure you're out there propagating the formula.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Shut up, slaves! Yowza. Let me see, we had a little report here about MH370. They're still looking for that, what was that, 777, right, that went down? All the crazy conspiracy theories that Putin did it. Putin did that. He does everything, man. The guy's just amazing. Hold on a second. Why is here it is. They found some disturbing evidence.
A small towelette washed up on a beach in Western Australia is being examined to determine whether it could be linked to missing flight MH370. The package was found by a couple at Cervantes last July, hundreds of kilometres away from the current search zone.
It was unopened, which was very unusual. And if it had been opened and just lying there, it was probably completely different.
Experts say it is possible for a package like this to drift long distances.
This is a little foil packet towelette. Yes, it may be nearby.
Slow news day.
I love it when they do stuff like that. I love that. Ashton, I'm just catching up on some stuff I got to get out of my bin here. Ashton B. Carter, our brand new Secretary of Defense, Secretary of the War Department. Isn't that what they used to call it, the War Department?
Secretary of War.
Yeah. Oh, is it War? I thought it was War Department.
Well, I think it was the War Department, but it used to be called Secretary of War.
Secretary of War. Just to give you an idea of how these elitist bullcrappers are. Listen to this. They have the color guard walking in, and then they have a red carpet.
Ladies and gentlemen, Associate Justice Elena Kagan.
I love this guy's voice. He's like, hey, I can do this. I can do the low voice like they do announcements, like in the Grammys and stuff. I can do that. Ladies and gentlemen.
The Honorable Ash Carter, his wife, Stephanie, former Secretary of Defense, Dr. William Perry, and General Martin Dempsey.
I know I can get a gig now.
This guy sounds like he has to take the testosterone to get his voice even that deep. Sounds like he's trying to make it very deep.
I'm really trying, man.
I'm getting it as deep as I can.
Really trying.
Secretary of State.
That's so bad. Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, you could get that gig.
So I always watch the...
I think it was a page.
It probably is. I can do that. Give me the mic. Ladies and gentlemen. But I'm always watching the C-SPAN dial-in shows, hoping that someone will finally dial in and say something about No Agenda. We've had one or two, which have been okay.
At this point, the listeners and producers are thinking, why don't you just call in, Adam?
Well, I'm preparing a show. I'm propagating the formula. That's not the deal that we make with our producers. The producers are going to sit around and do nothing. They got to do some stuff. There is a new meme, though, that I really like for bogus. For a long time, the Howard Stern show, there would be Baba Booey would be the thing you'd say if you called any kind of, if you got through on the air somewhere, at least in America, obviously.
Yeah.
So, and then for a while, there's the kids running up and in front of cameras and saying "F her right in the pussy," which was another meme, which is really strange but funny. Particularly the compilation. But now there's a new one, which you'll hear in this dial into my favorite C-SPAN morning show.
California Republican line. Here is Jack. Go ahead.
Hi, good morning. I'm Jack Strickland. I just want to make it clear, first of all, I'm calling from Bel Air, California, but I am originally from Philadelphia, specifically West Philadelphia. But anyway, I was actually discussing this issue with a friend of mine recently while I was in Philly. It occurred on the basketball court. At some point during the conversation, a couple of guys who were up to no good essentially started causing trouble in my neighborhood. I got in one little fight, and my mom got scared and said, "You're moving with your auntie and uncle in Bel Air."
Again, for the first 45 minutes.
It's the Fresh Prince of Bel Air theme song.
Oh. Okay.
I like it.
I don't know.
But I like it.
It was hard to follow.
Okay.
I mean, I get it. It's funny. Ho, ho, ho.
Well,
it's also a dated reference. I don't like that.
Well, Rick Astley isn't.
I don't promote Rick Astley.
No, I know you don't. It doesn't matter.
All right.
Yeah.
We got to do something better than that.
Yeah.
In the morning is good enough, at least for starters. You start getting everyone to start saying in the morning.
Or amen fist bump.
Amen fist bump is good.
Hey.
Amen fist bump.
Yeah, because everyone should be saying it all the time. People are coming up to me on the street now and saying it, so.
At the end of you go on C-SPAN, you say something, and they say, thanks for being with us. Or you go on anything, and they say, thanks for being with us, instead of saying, you're welcome, glad to be here.
Amen fist bump.
Just say amen fist bump.
Amen fist bump. That's it, exactly.
That'll work. That's a good meme.
So we're talking about, let's see, we were talking about, the state of fear and the climate change stuff. You remember we talked about this organization that their numbers are used for, for things like this many scientists agree at the AAAS. And
right.
I think it was Brian, the gay crusader, who said he was going to sign up. Well, we got another email from one of our producers, from Greg, and he did it as well. He said, I decided a couple of weeks ago to sign up to the AAAS, and I was never asked to present my credentials with signing up, just $50. I do get discounts on car insurance and rental cars, totally worth it. And they sent him a survey, and it's really from Associated Press. They're running these surveys, and now they're sending it to our producer as if he's a qualified researcher, a scientist. And here it is. We request your help. 15 minutes to take our survey and rate general and specific aspects of the Gulf of Mexico health by the end of the day, March 27, 2015. We ask you to rate it numerically, a 0 to 100 scale, a 0 being dead and 100 being pristine. We ask you to do it both before and after the spill for each category. So this is the quality of AP's research.
This is pathetic.
Yeah, it's extremely pathetic.
So, do you have any of the questions? I was hoping you're going to read a couple.
No, I wish. No, unfortunately, I don't have that.
But send us a scan of the test.
Yeah, there's a link to it. Not to the test itself. I don't have that. Maybe Greg will send it. Yeah, you're right. Right.
Well, that's ridiculous. Well, that's the way it works. Well, there's something we made it, or at least I know I've been hounding on this. But let's play this clip just to prove the no agenda point. After you play the clip, we'll talk about this. This is Netanyahu wins, which of course is a huge. Nobody expected this, but Netanyahu wins somehow.
And Martin joins me now from Tel Aviv. Martin, when we spoke about this time yesterday, there were early exit polls which suggested that Netanyahu might pull this out, but not by this much of a margin. So what is the mood today among his supporters and the people who wanted to defeat him?
Well, a very mixed mood, a real reflection of the division in this country. On the one hand, you have the Likud supporters euphoric, a great deal of a relief, because you have to remember that going into the election, the days before, all the polls were saying that Likud was not going to do that well. It was going to poll at least 2 to 3 seats behind Isaac Herzog's center-left coalition. And as a result, there was a great deal of fear among a lot of Likud supporters that they actually weren't going to make it. So when that final result came out this morning, they were stunned. They were extremely euphoric that this had happened. On the other hand, you have the Zionist coalition, the center-left people who were, to use the words that we heard on the street today, shocked, devastated. They thought they had a real shot at it this time because of a perception that Netanyahu's popularity was dropping, was plummeting, and that, in fact, most Israelis wanted to see that change.
Now, before you give me your analysis, is it also possible that the same process is in place in Israel as we have in the United States, where the media continues to call it close, they might be behind, he might lose, and it's all just for advertising revenue?
That is my analysis.
I'm sorry. I thought you were going to have something different. All right, It's official. We think too much alike. Someone has to be fired. I'll fire myself. I'm gone. All right, I'm going to get out of this. I'm so sorry.
This is obviously what's going on. And I think it's what all this does, and my analysis was going to include this aspect, which is now this has become, somebody figured out this was a great way to make money for the media companies. Mm-hmm. That means to put a lot of ads out there. And Israel's a smaller market, but it's like a state, about the size of a rich state that would have to throw a lot of money at the media to oh, God, we're going to lose. You better bring in some more advertising.
Right.
And I'm sure Shelley Adelson lost millions of dollars on this scam.
Uh-huh.
But they've figured it out that this is the way to go. And you said yourself, the reason that I brought this clip in is because you had this phony baloney survey that was being done by just a bunch of, doofuses that just joined this organization. Not that our people are doofuses, but they joined the organization. Now they're experts. This entire polling situation as it now exists
it's a sales job for the media companies.
It's just useless. Now, if you notice most of these polls, it's never just, one old pollster or another. It's not Gallup much more. It's usually Gallup NBC, Gallup ABC.
Yeah. Pew CNN.
It'll be some poll linked to a media company.
Right.
Wow. If that doesn't tell you all you don't need to know, got the media company right there doing the poll.
Yeah.
CBS has determined that the election is too close to call.
Yeah, I know. It's great.
And it's like being a bookie in Vegas, these guys, because the bookies, they have the odds for the game. The odds are like, the bookies only make money, the VIG, they make the middle. They make the little money in the middle. So all of a sudden they give one team 5 points to win. And now everybody starts betting on that team. And so you have to oh, geez, we got to balance the betting. So let's drop the favorite down to 3 points instead of 5. And then that's a good bet now. So these other guys start betting, and so they go back and forth with to get the number of bets on both sides to be as close to equal as possible.
Right. They win all the time.
They make all this money in the middle. That's what's going on with the media companies. The media companies, as being part of the polling and also controlling the coffers, they say how much money has come in for Obama. Oh, this much. Oh, God, we got to make this. They're not paying enough. Let's make it so
bad news. Bad news on the horizon. Right?
Yeah. This is a scam.
Yeah.
It's one of the best scams I've ever seen. We are the only two people that publicly discuss this scam as it exists. And now it's apparently going on in Israel. How else was everybody so shocked by the results?
I didn't clip it because it was just too boring. The president was Cleveland, maybe? I can't remember where he was. And he said, maybe we should make voting mandatory in... no, that's my water, honey. Thank you. Maybe we should make voting mandatory in America. I mean, I contemplated it for a moment. I think... No, that would not be a good idea, would it?
Well, it's illegal.
Well, yeah, I know it's illegal.
No, it wouldn't be a good idea. Nobody would vote anyway.
There are countries that do this. I think Australia is mandatory to vote.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, I think you get fined if you don't vote.
Yeah, we don't need that.
Well, I'm just trying to... The voice of reason, ladies and gentlemen. We don't need that. Well, meanwhile, on Tuesday, the White House published a notice in the Federal Register, which, as you know, Bad Chad is the man always maintaining my Federal Register feed. He plucks things out, which deleted the regulation requiring the Office of Administration to be subject to public information requests, which would have required a response under the Freedom of Information Act. And this is underreported for obvious reasons.
Now, let's go back this up again and say this from the beginning.
Okay. So in the Federal Register, so it'd be so, deleting the regulation requires the Office of Administration to
What's the Office of Administration?
That's the Office of the Administration of the White House, the administration.
Oh.
But it's called Office of Administration. I can look it up if you want.
Well, that's okay. Keep going.
You look it up. Office of Administration to be subject to public information requests, which would have required a response under the Freedom of Information Act. In other words, that there's no regulation for the Office of the Administration to respond to or to provide any documentation requested under a FOIA request. No bueno.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. White House office to delete its FOIA regulations. This was a story that is in USA Today.
But I think it holds true that they're the most transparent administration in history. If there's nothing there, look, there's nothing to see. Absolutely.
Don't look over here.
Nothing to see here.
Ooh, look at that.
The people should be up in arms about this.
Well, I don't understand. The press seems to be very timid on it as well. Demure. I mean, you know what it is?
Demure. That's our press.
Demure. Yeah.
They're demure. Or demure parroting press, recycling press releases, being told what to do by the pretty PR girl.
And pretty she is. They always are. But they always have something wrong, like one tooth is crooked or something. Do you know what I mean? The PR girls that you get on your book tour?
PR girl.
Am I right or am I right?
Well, I don't know about that. I've seen plenty of them that have no flaws.
Zero flaws? Well, everybody has flaws, John C. Dvorak. Nobody perfect.
Yeah.
So there were some questions, but no, it's just dumb. The whole thing is just incredibly dumb. I don't understand, why people aren't up in arms. But I think what it is, whenever journalists sit down to write about ethics and real transparency and openness, it comes across as like it's inside baseball. Regular people look at that and go, whatever. It's not written in a consumer friendly way so that people can actually understand the bull. If it just said, "Hey, they're burning the record so you can't see what's going on," is bullshit. Maybe people will go, "Hey, what?"
Yeah, nobody likes that kind of writing in the editorial. Here's the problem. One of the problems in newspapers. And I know there's some newspaper guys that listen to the show, but they're going to roll their eyes.
You're a journalist. You know what you're talking about, actually.
Well, here, one of the problems is I only have one or two honest friends that work in newspapers, and one of them once said, I don't see what the point is. We're not Hemingway.
Oh, yeah, that's like, we're in Austin. That's good enough.
We're not Hemingway, but a lot of these guys like to pretend to be highfalutin. And I mean, the difference between it's always said that the difference between the journalism in England, which is more, aggressive, is that in England it's considered a trade, and in the United States it's considered a profession. And when you start thinking of journalists, reporters as a profession,
right,
which, kind of indicates maybe it should be licensed or should have some oversight, like all professions, you're putting yourself on a pedestal that is bull crap.
Right.
It's a trade. It's just like,
Well, they're not doing a good job. Their tradecraft sucks.
That's true, and they consider themselves professional.
So you're telling me that there are some real journalists, like New York Times guys, who listen to the show?
No.
I thought that's what you said. I know some newspaper guys.
No, I didn't say New York Times.
That's a newspaper guy to me.
Some reporter. I mean, I'm sure there's a reporter in the Dakotas that listens to the show. I'm sure there's a reporter in
story ideas. Let those guys do the footwork. I'll just take it.
I think there's some guys, like you go to Arkansas, there'll be somebody who listens to the show. New York Times, I would say, and I know a lot of New York Times guys, not one of them will listen to the show. They don't like the idea of the show. They don't like our attitude. They don't like this constant carping about the media being a bunch of a-holes.
And they certainly don't like...
Amen, fist bump.
They are not in the Amen fist bump group.
Yeah, no.
No. Well, it's interesting you say that, and I always love hearing your insights about how the printed media works, because I know very little about it except what I've heard from you. But if I look at
I could be a pathological liar.
Well, I've
never even worked at it. What are you talking about?
I've suspected that for so long that none of it's true. You're just making it all up.
You wish.
Yeah. No. You're an asset, my friend.
It's all a fact.
Yeah.
But I believe there is a possibility that some news guys, and maybe they should send us a note. By the way, these guys would never send us a note through contributions because newspaper guys are cheap. They're all cheap.
Cheap bastards. Well,
cheap bastards. They are.
So here's another problem.
Never pick up a tab. They dress like, they don't make any, they get ripped off.
Yeah, of course. So you have the $250 million WordPress blog set up by philanthropist Pierre Omidyar, drive my car, Glenn Greenwald, Glenn Greenwald. People seem to be bailing out. There's not enough parachutes for people to get off that ship. Woo! Out we go. And
Greenwald's not bailing out.
No, he's not bailing. No, of course not. He got paid. It doesn't matter. The whole thing is just lay Marino. But what's happening, and I saw this, and I think this is part of their problem, I'm very interested in their activism. I don't really call it journalism. It seems more like activism these days, what they're writing. But I try to get through it, and the stories are so long. You keep scrolling down and down. It's like, this is The Intercept is the entire reason for TLDR. I need someone to summarize. And luckily, Tech Dirt.
What a great name. I don't know who came up with that.
Wait a minute.
Tech Dirt.
That's been around for a long time, hasn't it?
I know it has. I've always admired the name.
Hold on one second. I just got to do something. I'm going to register this domain right now. Hold on. I bet you it's available. I'm not going to say it. Anyone else grabbing it before I got it. And the answer is... Oh, man, it's already registered. Techtard.com. I thought Techtard would be great. Well, it's already registered. Anyway, so they took one of the stories, which is actually quite good, from Intercept, about the FBI's 6-week cycle. Now, for those of you who are new, we heard, what was it now, 2 years ago maybe? From one of our insiders at the agency.
Almost 3 years ago at this
Maybe 3
point.
years, yeah. From one of our insiders at the agency, that there is a cycle of about 6 weeks And every 6 weeks, the FBI has to make some noise and have some kind of big...
Keep the budget up there.
To keep the budget in place. Otherwise, you start to lose budget, look bad. You need to shake the tree. You got to get some... got to make noise. So, invariably, if you look at there were some numbers I saw the other day. I think it was the 539 arrests the FBI made. There's some 370 involved, either a sting operation or, all of the, all the informants were all FBI, but just entrapment, dumb people. And so somehow Intercept got hold of this tape that they made this stupid guy, this moron in Ohio put together. Remember, this was the last 6-week cycle.
Right.
And, but they left the tape running.
By the way, the next 6-week cycle hits at tax time on April 15th.
Right. Which is always a good time, to blame it on patriots. Because we shouldn't be taxed, or the sovereign citizens, or someone like that.
It'll be something like that.
Something like that, yeah. So after recording the video, they left the tape on, and somehow Intercept got a hold of this, and the audio captured after this martyrdom video went something. So I don't have it, but this is just what they wrote. I wish I had. I'd love to hear it. So these are all FBI agents now talking amongst each other while the schlub is off to go buy $500 worth of weapons and ammo
to take down the government.
They actually drove him there.
Oh yeah,
he couldn't drive. They drove him and put the money in his hands. When he was putting stuff on, he acted like he was nervous. One of the speakers tells Amir. He kept backing away. Yeah, Amir agrees. He looked nervous on the camera. Someone else adds. Yeah, he got excited. I think he got excited when he saw the stuff, Amir says, referring to the weapons that were laid out on the hotel bed. Oh, yeah, you could tell. He was all like a 6-year-old in a toy store. So they're just, they're directing him and telling him how to do everything and then literally driving him to the store. So they drove him to the store. Recall what happened. They had the store owner in on it, but this whole charade. The store owner goes, oh, here you go. Sure, you're good to go, son. And then he walks out, and the guys who drove him there, they pull him down like FBI. Don't move.
It's pretty funny.
It's ridiculous.
It's like the Reno 911 or whatever it is show.
It just blows my mind. And and so here it is. So I appreciate the Intercept has this, and I presume I'd love to hear the audio, but they're so unreadable.
Well, they don't have an editor.
Yeah. Correct.
And I've always had this hunch, because Greenwald, as you know, I was a big fan of his when he was at Salon, and I liked reading his material, and I went from Salon to Guardian to his own thing, and it seemed like he was giving up a reasonably good gig at the Guardian because they gave him a lot of resources, and he was getting the headlines that he so desperately wanted. But I always had a stinging suspicion that as a lawyer, he was never really a good reporter type writer that would write the standard style that people are comfortable with. And he had to be heavily edited. I know Salon is heavily editing operations.
And by the way, I haven't seen a Glenn Greenwald piece in a long time. It's all these other people who are writing.
Yeah, well, I think there's no editor there, and nobody to say, no, it's too long, or cut it up, take this out, take that out. I mean, editors have their value, even though I hate to say that, because somebody will say, you said that. They have their value when it comes to people who are just, they're write too long, they're too verbose, they can't get to the point, they're poorly organized. And I always thought Greenwald must be one of those guys, and The Guardian was probably tired of over-editing him because the British are sticklers for, the style.
Well...
So that's why they're too long. Somebody's not there to tell them to shorten these pieces or break them up.
Or maybe it's just like, leave it that way because then, we got the information out and some people cared, but generally no one cared. And then everyone else left it alone because the Intercept already had the story and whatever. I still don't trust that operation.
Reverse honeypot.
Yeah, I don't trust that whole operation. I mean, I think that all these people bailing out, they smelled more than just the rat that is the obvious management deficit.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Taibbi was there for 10 minutes?
Yeah.
3 days?
Yeah.
looked around and said, I'm out of here.
You know what? Where is the 60 Minutes piece on that? It's about time, don't you think? This is a big deal. This was huge. Everyone was all in. Everyone wanted a job. Everyone, oh yeah, they're talking to me too. Are they talking to you? Yeah. And we had, who was the dickhead over there, the university guy? Oh, I'm going to advise them. But what's his name?
Rosen. Yeah, what happened to him?
No, he's no longer advising them. Yeah, no, I think his contract ended. Right. Come on. There's the media needs to do some work on that. This is very important.
Yeah, nobody's except you.
Yeah. Well, I also am very tired of Edward Snowden showing up everywhere. At South by Southwest, Ed Snowden has a call to arms for tech companies.
He hasn't said anything new for over a year.
No.
He comes on, he's got the same stupid glasses
broken glasses that he only wears when he's brand Snowden.
Droning nonsense. Who cares?
Yeah.
You should have stolen more stuff.
Now we just sound like grumpy old dudes. It's
mostly two guys in the balcony. It's like in fact, when we look back on it, I'd say that he just took a few PowerPoint presentations.
That's all he had. He never had any code. Just card carrying member of the Central Intelligence Agency, working as a contractor for NSA at Booz Hamilton. Mm-hmm. Yeah, PowerPoints.
Set up to just embarrass the agency.
And just PowerPoints.
All right, onward.
Yes. This is from, I think, about a week ago. And just drug trafficking in general in these United States of Gitmo Nation. Of course, we know where the poppies come from. They're all from Afghanistan. And I guess the way the system kind of works is they get it to Mexico. That's where it's turned into horse, smack, the good white, the brownstone.
My understanding is that's not. We used to get that report. I don't know why we don't get another copy. My understanding is the stuff that goes through Mexico is not necessarily the stuff that comes out of Afghanistan. Well, I was under the understanding that they make the heroin in Afghanistan and it goes right into Europe.
Well, that's what this clip is about.
And then our international folks play a huge role.
This is DEA Administrator Michelle Leonhardt, something
and
like
then
that.
Our international folks play a huge role here because the majority of the heroin that is hitting your streets is coming from Mexico and is being trafficked by those same organizations that are bringing coke, meth, marijuana, you name it, to your communities. These are the same organizations. They're polydrug organizations, and we have partnered with our partners in Mexico who now have done, over the last year, have really taken a look at the heroin problem. They see the role that they play, and we have actually done some very good work together with them to focus on the problem.
Yeah, I'm going to make it more efficient for everybody.
Partnered with partners?
I know. I know.
We partnered with our partners.
Yeah, we're not going to tell you who that is because it's probably the Sinaloa cartel.
Well, yeah.
But it seems to me...
I think that deal's fallen apart. I think it's somebody else now.
It's
got to get busted.
It's the... what's their name? It's like a real common name.
Don't know.
Yeah, the chat room may know. But it seems to me, particularly if you look at HSBC and all the drug money they were laundering, it makes kind of sense that it was coming through Mexico. I mean, the high production, as she says, seems to be in Mexico.
Yeah.
I mean, why wouldn't you just send the raw materials there? Let them deal with it. Less hassle.
Well, the raw materials come from all over the place, but mostly from Afghanistan.
Okay.
I don't know. The way somebody should explain in more. They don't want to make a point of showing that we're involved in the Afghanistan traffic.
No.
So we're never going to find out the details.
Oh, no, not from the DEA. No, of course not.
No, the whole thing is ridiculous. So I was watching some entertainment.
Oh.
And because it's taking the show off because it was a dog. It's called The Mysteries of Laura. And it's got that pretty girl who was the actress. I can't think of her name offhand. Anyway, she... This show is she's a detective. It's another.
What is it? What network does this air on?
I think it's on CBS.
Okay.
But whatever the case, it could be NBC. Whatever the case is, it didn't catch on. I'll look it up while I play this clip. I got 2 clips. One of them I thought was interesting because they gave us a lesson on police forfeiture law, and it reminded me what a scam this is, and we know there's a lot of scandals around the country about police pulling you over and
taking your stuff. That money must be drug money.
If you got money, if you got more than $100, what do you got all this money for? You must
drug money. Yeah.
And you can't get it back, and people confiscate computers. You can't get them back. They just keep them. But this little lesson, and I thought was interesting. They would put this in the show.
Detective Soto, permission to speak freely.
Permission not really necessary, but go ahead.
That thing you purloined from the drug bust is a bastardization of the entire neoclassical tradition, and it's stupid.
Permission withdrawn. First of all, I did not purloin the Heisman Cupid.
Tell me that's not what it's called. Its eyes are following me.
They're not even open.
It's even creepier.
Secondly, under the laws of civil forfeiture, any items obtained in a criminal arrest can be utilized by the department in any manner it sees fit. In this case, classing up my desk.
Is it opposite day?
Is this a gay cop show?
Everybody, most of the cops are gay on the show. By the way, this is an NBC show. That's the problem. They can't do anything right. And it's poorly written. It has a lot of very...
Hands up! Or put them at least in your waist.
It has a lot of juvenile lines in it.
Well, yeah.
But the thing that I observed was a little native advertising or perhaps... This is beyond product placement. It's just not like the Coke can sitting there. This is, I believe, a native ad.
And Mickey said something about guys from the old neighborhood. I think they were fans of his cross-dress.
Maybe someone from his past coming back to haunt him? Max, you get the name of that pizza joint?
Si, signorina. Pizza vongole. Vongole means clams in Italian. I'm doing Rosetta Stone. You should hear my Mandarin.
Okay. Well, then I get to follow that up with my own native ad that I caught.
By the way,
here.
it was for Rosetta Stone, if you didn't notice.
Yes, of course. The language learning company.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Well, this is from The Magic of Science. It's on Adult Swim, but it's a cartoon. Kids may watch this too.
I'm serious, Amy. Connor Gallivan said he'd totally hook up with you. Oh my god, he's a total creep. But he's kind of cute.
Oh, Danielle, I forgot to tell you. I was going to get my HPV vaccine this weekend, and I was thinking you could come, then we could just veg and watch movies afterwards. Whatevs.
You want to go to the doctors together?
I want us not to get cervical cancer is what I want. OMG. Fire crotch?
Fire crotch?
Oh my God. Well, that definitely topped mine.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab.
Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
I think Fire Crotch could be a possible show title.
Oh, Fire Crotch. I should have caught that.
Write it down. You never know. We'll discuss 10. It'll be like Fire Crotch is the best, man.
Yeah, it's a good catch. Good catch. I should have caught it. We do have a few people to thank. Very few, as a matter of fact. It looks like about 20. But it's a slow day sometimes. These Thursdays are just annoying.
Yeah, maybe we should just not do them. I could use a couple more days off, live in squalor.
I can stay home another day.
Yeah, not go anywhere. Not visit the friends you don't have.
Yeah, Troy Sprague and Grand Black, it says. Grand Blanc, Michigan.
Yes.
$99.99. He sent a note in. He sent the check in the note. Here's my 2015 subscription renewal, $99.99. Thanks for the outstanding product. I just voted for No Agenda on the podcastawards.com, which we keep forgetting to tell people to go to and vote for us.
Yes.
People's Choice and Politics News categories. Good luck. You guys need some recognition for all you do. I would agree with that. Getting out late, but can I get a March 7th belated 50th birthday shout out? Do you have a pen?
Oh, yes. Bill Hutchinson.
Troy Sprague.
Who's
Bill Hutchinson?
He's the wrong name. Sorry.
Where'd you get that name?
He's the next name on the
list. You're looking at the thing.
Well, he also, it's another problem. Yes, okay, Troy Sprague. Hold on.
50 on the 7th.
Sprague, $50 on the 7th. All right.
And he wants a douchebag call out.
Okay.
Get ready.
Yeah.
For Rex Foltz as a douchebag.
Got it. That was a splattering.
Okay. All right. Onward. Bill, and by the way, he sent a card, and he did the thing that a lot of people are doing now, for me, I guess. He wrote the card in longhand, and then he typed the same exact message and put it on a printout.
Okay.
This has happened a lot, I should mention. So anyone who wants to do that, it's not a bad idea.
It's helpful for the pronunciator on duty.
I don't have to sit there stumbling.
Yeah.
Bill Hutchinson in Shido Park, South Australia, $70.50. He missed his birthday because of a family medical issue. Would like a de-douching.
Yes, and I've got him. I'll do that for him, and I've got him.
You've been de-douched.
Hey.
Okay, Peter Tangany in Randolph, Massachusetts. That's $70.05. Eduardo Martinez again in San Jose, California, $69.69. He's got something that he put last time too. Sir Rick in Arlington, Washington, who makes a point of being Sir Rick, not his real name, because he says nobody knows him as anything other than Sir Rick. Right. $69.33. Wu Cash, I guess, in Munich.
That's a cool name. Wu Cash, nice to meet you.
Wu Cash.
Wu Cash. Hey, Wu Cash.
In München, Deutschland, 5510, double nickels on the dime. Benjamin Fauci in Hanover, Pennsylvania's got a birthday call out, 5510. Dean Roker, 5510, parts unknown. Srinivas Murti, Srinivas. Culpeper, Virginia, 5151, the insane number. Richard Terry, Houston, Texas. 50, and these are all $50 donors, just a few of them, and he wants to put some job karma at the end of the operation here. Jason Zeisler in Renner, South Dakota, $50. Martin Van Gillenlast in Beneden.
There are actually people who I've seen here who I did not know previously that I was having a coffee with, and then went, Martijn van Galen. I kid you not.
Martijn
van Galen Last. Beneden Leeuwen.
Yes.
It's true. I'm not making this up.
International jokes.
Yeah.
My name, Jose Jimenez. That's where I get Martijn. Andrew Haverson in Gravenhurst, Ontario. Dave Evans in Austin, Texas. Michael Gates in Colorado.
Cocktails?
Sorry?
Dave, we keep missing each other for cocktails. He keeps buying me drinks through donations.
Not here. Rosalind Furness in Turnbridge Wells, Kent, UK. Amitav Hajra in Daleville, Virginia. John Camp in Antlers, Oklahoma, which I think is a great name for a town. And it's second only to Gnawbone, Indiana. No listeners in Gnawbone, apparently. Oh. Eric Mann in Parts Unknown, and also John Strag. I think he may be Sir John Strag. Sure. In Parts Unknown. And that will conclude our little list of people who helped us on show 705.
We do have the 2-day turnaround. I'll be flying back tomorrow. Christina and I getting up at the crack of dawn, like 5 o'clock. I think we had picked up at 6. To get to the airport at 7. Yeah, not so nice, really. It kind of blows. But I wanted to travel early so that we get in at a reasonable hour, and then just have to stay up until, like 11 or something. And then I can be back on schedule, prep Saturday, and then do the show Sunday.
Oh, good. So you're tormenting yourself by taking one of these ridiculously early flights.
Always.
So you can get back to the US of A, hopefully not delayed at the customs by any means, and get back to the show for the Sunday show, 7:06.
Yes, and Christina is going with me. She's traveling back, so she'll be staying with me for 2 weeks.
Good.
It's good. Yes,
somebody's got to clean the place.
Exactly. She's been making me do all kinds of stuff. You're like, Dad, you have to vacuum. Dad, you have to do the dishes. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I have her cook for you too.
Oh, she did. She did. She cooked on Thursday, right after the show. She presented me with dinner. Oh, it's a good kid.
Nice.
Yeah. What was I going to say? I don't know.
Something about to turn around all the effort you put into the show. You're getting up at 6 in the morning.
Listen, it's a responsibility. You know, we produce the best podcast in the universe. Yes, this is exactly what's going on.
Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
All right, I'm sorry. Did you want to say something?
Who else would analyze the news and discuss the use of prostitutes by the U.S. Congress as part of the bullcrap reason they won't pass these trafficking bills? Nobody. They won't even suggest it. And if they did in the mainstream media, they'd be excoriated by their fellows. Oh, you've got no proof of anything like that. These assertions are just sick. You guys shouldn't even be on whatever program we'd be on if we didn't have,
by the way,
advertisers.
And by the way, that hooker you sent me last night was below par. Not an executive subpar. Not an executive model as I was promised.
Yeah,
the MK Ultra program.
Some skank from the hood.
Hold on, just write down the time. 1:52. Some skank from the hood, everybody. Yeah. This is how we produce the show in real time. Please do help us out, though. At antiwar.com. They got all of their Google ads. AdSense shut them off.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Because inappropriate content.
What?
Yeah, they're not appropriate for their ads. Yes.
Are you telling me that an anti-war group is inappropriate?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's right. Orwell, anybody?
Dvorak.org/N.
Yes. Did you want to say something?
That's astonishing.
Happy birthday to Sir Robert Alter, celebrated on March 17th. Sir Ray Jacobson says happy birthday to his brother Jake. He'll be 46. Actually, he's turning 46 today. Benjamin Fauci, happy birthday to Jared Guildwell, 29 today. David Johnson celebrating on the 21st. Bill Hutchinson, he's celebrating his birthday, which was in January. And Troy Sprague, 50 on the 7th of March. Happy birthday from all your buddies here at the best podcast in the universe.
It's your birthday, yeah.
Then we have Sir Robert Alter, who not only celebrated his birthday 2 days ago. We have him becoming a Viscount today. Does he already have a protectorate?
No, he's never called for one.
Well, you might want to consider it.
Yeah.
And we have one knighting today, so I can pack this one up the minute I'm done. Thank you very much. Hendrik J. Smith, come on forward, my friend. You are about to become a knight of the No Agenda Roundtable with all of the benefits that it provides to you. So I hereby pronounce-ticate thee, Sir Hendrik, Knight of the Blank Saber. For you, my friend, we have Hookers and Bow, Rent Boys and Chardonnay, Progressive Rock and Russian Import Stout, Root Beer and Legos, Maker's Mark and Mushrooms, Cunnilingus, Yona and Jumbo, Hot Pants and Booze. I tried to make it.
Jeez, you're killing yourself.
I couldn't make it. I tried.
You couldn't get the mutton and mead?
I couldn't because I had to cough and I was in the middle of the crescendo. I just couldn't get to bong hits and bourbon, sparkling cider and escorts and mutton and mead. I tried just by pressing my breath out. I'm sorry, I failed.
You should have inhaled more air.
Well, it was the kind of the I don't know, something was in my throat. Some kind of something or other. Thank you very much to our brand new knight, and this is something that occurs happens to you if you support the program in the amount of $1,000 or more. And if you go to noagendanation.com/rings, you can pick up you can register, get all your info in there for Eric. Are they in yet?
You find out a lot about this by going to Dvorak.org/NA. There's a discussion. As far as I know, they're not in yet, but it's only the 18th, 19th.
Yeah.
A couple more days they'll be in. I hope.
Is that shipping strike over at the California ports? Is that still going on?
The shipping strike may have something to do with it. I think the strike is over, but I think there's still I believe, I don't know, that there still may be a slowdown.
So, Jen Psaki, we haven't seen Marie in a while.
I know. I'm disappointed.
Yeah, but I like it when Marie and Matt. Matt
Marie got bumped.
Well, she didn't get the promotion, but she gets to do all the shows. She gets to go on Wolf Blitzer and talk about stuff and look pretty and cute and all that. You know, it's okay.
Who got the job?
Well, I forget. Some other woman. Don't worry.
Oh, well, that's good.
Hopefully she'll be funny. Hopefully. So Jen, of course, Matt is in here in this clip, and we're talking about Venezuela. Of course, there was some disruption. Immediately, the United States is blamed because I'm pretty sure we're to blame. We like doing that. We've tried it several times. You know, we've just throughout history. How long have we been trying to screw things up there? John?
Well, we're not trying to screw things up.
Ooh, okay.
We just want them to do what we say.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we never do that. We have a policy of not meddling in affairs of countries, apparently, according to Jen.
President Maduro last night went on the air and said that they'd arrested multiple people who were allegedly behind a coup that was backed by the United States. What is your response?
These latest accusations, like all previous such accusations, are ludicrous. As a matter of long-standing policy, the United States does not support political transitions by non-constitutional means. Political transitions must be democratic, constitutional, peaceful, and legal. We've seen many times that the Venezuelan government tries to distract from its own actions by blaming the United States or other members of the international community for events inside Venezuela. These efforts reflect a lack of seriousness on the part of the Venezuelan government to deal with the grave situation it faces.
There's Matt. Thank goodness. This is the only other person, by the way, that I know in media who will discuss things that are so obvious, but other outfits just don't do.
Whoa. The U.S. has a long-standing practice of not promoting. What did you say? How long-standing is that? In particular, in South and Latin America, that is not a long-standing practice.
Well, my point here, Matt, without getting into history, is that we do not support, we have no involvement with, and these are ludicrous accusations.
In this specific case.
Correct.
But if you go back not that long ago, during your lifetime, even. This is
the
not
last
that
21
long
years?
Didn't you play this clip already?
No. Maybe
because this is from about a week ago or 2 weeks ago.
A week ago.
I thought you played it.
I don't believe so.
Oh, okay.
Well, now you bum me out. Now I don't even want to finish it.
Well, you can finish it because people, I'm sure, don't listen to every minute of every show. So play it. It's a good
clip. Touche. But I mean, look, does long-standing mean 10 years in this case? I mean, what
Matt, my intention was to speak to the specific reports.
But you said it's a long-standing U.S. practice, and I'm not so sure how. It depends on what your definition of long-standing is.
Okay.
All right. See, that's why I shouldn't have played the rest of it. You
know what's funny about that clip? Is that I think he misused the words touche.
I agree.
She says, my lifetime, I'm only 21, or she says something stupid.
Yeah, it's peculiar you say that because I thought the same thing when I heard it.
Yeah.
As when you make a joke, it's not a touche.
No, it's not a touche at all.
It's a rim shot or something. It's not a touche.
A touche is when somebody comes back at you with something related to what you just said to skewer you.
Yes.
And that's why the term is a skewer. You would have a foil, you'd be fencing, and then you would skewer the person. And, of course, you would be wearing something to keep from getting killed. But if you weren't wearing the thing, you'd be skewered. The thing would go right through you, and you'd go touche and drop dead.
And if you didn't, if you forgot, I used to fence.
Oh, yeah?
I actually...
JC Buzzkill Jr. used to fence.
I was third in the Dutch National Championship Juniors.
What? Well, that's a big deal.
Yeah, it was a big deal. Now, how old was I? Must have been...
How come you didn't keep up with it? You'd be, you're tall. You have an air about you as someone with a rapier.
A rapier, yes. What is a rapier?
I could see you holding woof 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 some sort of thing, and then
en garde.
Yeah, on guard, and then you're whipping around like crazy. How come you didn't stick with it?
I'm trying to think. maybe we moved. Yeah, I think we probably moved away from the school because there was only one Maître van Oeveren. There was only one real fencing school, and it was in Amsterdam. It was a real pain in the ass. I don't know. That's when I started, building transmitters.
Yeah, you start smoking.
I could have. No, I was 11.
Oh man, why am I wasting my time with this damn thing? Jeez, I'm dumb.
There's no chicks in fencing, man. The chicks. Wait a minute, radio. Now you're talking. Yeah, and I got the perfect face for radio, man. It's a waste of time. Man, just trying to stick a guy with a needle is a waste of time, man. Radio, that's where the money is. As you know, I'm always paying attention, very close attention. Words matter, what people say. The president was on Jimmy Kimmel Live.
Yes, I meant to record this. I missed it completely. But then again, I've seen so much of the president on these shows that I find it like that. Talk about a waste of time. You can, if you got a clip out of this, I win the show.
Yeah, kind of. I got a clip. It's
now entering second half of show.
Just because when the president makes jokes, he's still saying things, and the way he was saying it with some sincerity. I just want to have this in our show for posterity, so that we can go back and say, well, I had my suspicions about this.
If I was the president, and it's unlikely that is ever going to happen.
You never know.
If I was the president...
It was unlikely that I was going to be president.
The moment I was inaugurated, my hand it'd still be hot from touching the Bible, and I would immediately race to wherever they have the files about Area 51 and the UFOs, and I'd go through everything to find out what happened.
Right.
Did you do that?
That's why you will not be president. That's the first.
That, by the way, was a setup joke. That, at least that was obvious to me. Do you?
No.
No, I thought
Obama can.
He's good, but I think that felt like,
with the best of them.
He's very good, but I thought that was scripted.
What you would do?
The
aliens won't let it happen. You reveal all their secrets. They exercise strict control over us.
Now, there are a lot of people that are going to examine your facial expressions here, every twitch, everything, and say, and of course, so did you look? Did you see? Did you explore?
I can't reveal anything.
Oh, really? Because President Clinton said he did go right in, and he did check, and there was nothing.
Well, that's what we're instructed to say.
It was worth it.
All right.
It was worth it. Amen. Fist bump.
Yeah.
Wow.
I always want to just, keep that on file.
I think, you may be right on, because he may be just, that was actually quite interesting.
That's the way I saw it.
And it's funny that of all these assholes who do these shows, that Kimmel, who I think does the best show, by the way.
Oh, really? Really? I don't...
I'll tell you why, because Kimmel has because everyone has these stock gags that they like to do.
Yeah.
Kimmel's stock gags, where he goes out in the street and asks some stupid questions, that thing where he does the unnecessary censorship. He has a bunch of these. They're all the best. They're all much better than anything Letterman's ever come up with.
Oh, yeah, I think Letterman's lost it. Yeah, he's lost it.
That what's his name does, Fallon.
Fallon's sometimes good.
I find
there's a lot of production.
Laughs too much stuff. Well, nothing is that funny.
Anyway, why are we even discussing this?
Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
What I was trying to finish, I just threw that as an aside, is of all these guys who have had Obama on, none of them have ever asked this question.
No.
About Area 51.
This is also ABC, correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's his favorite network. All his buddies are at ABC.
I just thought it was interesting that somebody asked the question. I think it was a good catch.
Sticking with the President Obama for a moment, he's been on the road, he's been doing some speeches, and he started talking about guns. And of course, this is also, I guess, part of his legacy tour in a way. A little bit of football spiking, but also apologetic or saying, "Here's what I've done, what I can do." But of course, Congress. Blah. But at the end of this clip, he really loses it. And this is actually at the beginning of the clip. He's already lost his train of thought, and I guess he's reading a teleprompter, although he's doing one of his walking around moments with the hand mic. It's about Sandy Hook and about guns. And just for the newer listeners, we have a lot of questions about Sandy Hook. There's a lot of things we haven't seen, i.e. anything. And there's a lot of
and then they tear down the school. They never had to see any videos of anything. And
the medical examiner who had the weirdest press conference ever, he retired, or he's gone, just gone. Just a lot of strange things.
The whole thing.
We weren't allowed to listen to any 911 tapes because it would be too horrible.
We were the only show that played the 911 tape.
There was nothing. The teacher
and there was nothing on it.
In her foot.
And everybody else wasn't going to play it because it was so controversial. So we played it. There was nothing on it. No. On and on and on. You can go to YouTube and see a million takedowns of this whole episode.
And you had that crazy guy who, he kept miscounting how many kids were in his driveway. Just a lot of stuff. A lot of really, really strange stuff. So that's why we always did perks. My interest is piqued when that's French. When I hear the president talking about it.
It makes sense to me. And I'll be honest with you. I thought after what happened at Sandy Hook that would make us think about it. The hardest day of my presidency, I've had some hard days, but nothing compares to being with the parents of 26-year-old kids.
Oops. So how is he going to recover? He just said nothing harder than the day I had to be with the parents of 26-year-old kids, because he misread it.
He said 26-year-old kids.
No, because he actually, I don't think that's what he said. Is that how you hear that? Oh, wow.
Compares to being with the parents of 26-year-old kids.
Oh, I guess I could hear it that way. Okay. I heard it differently, particularly because of the next line.
Beautiful little kids.
Beautiful little kids. Why am I laughing? I'm a horrible man.
And some heroic teachers and administrators in that school, just 2-3 days after they had been just gunned down in their own classroom.
Gunned down in their own classroom.
And you would have thought at that point, that's got to be enough of a motivator for us to want to do something about this.
That was the plan, that's for sure.
And we couldn't get it done. There was just, at least at the congressional level. So what we've done is we have tried as much as we can administratively to implement background checks and to make sure that we're working with those states and cities and jurisdictions.
So now he's gotten the main message out that didn't work, and now he's trying to remember what we're doing.
And the joke, of course, is that Lanza had the guns from his mom.
Yeah.
There was no background check, would have done nothing about this. But what would have maybe done something is armed teachers, which was the little mistake they made.
The president,
when they set this whole thing up.
The president is about to call you out, son.
That are interested and willing to partner with us to crack down on the legal use of firearms, particularly handguns. But,
by the way, he didn't use a handgun. Did he? I thought he only used a...
Yeah, he had a rifle.
He had a rifle, right? I didn't think he had a handgun.
To be honest with you, in the absence of more...
He's losing
what I would consider heroic and courageous stances from our legislators, both at the state level and the federal level.
I already cut all the pauses out of this, man. I'm sorry, but he's about to go nuts.
It is hard to reduce the easy availability of guns. And as long as you can go on.
So he just said the easy availability of guns, which we presume to be background checks and psychoanalysis, whatever it is that is going to be put in place. But then he goes into this.
To reduce the easy availability of guns. And as long as you can go on to in some neighborhoods, and it is easier for you to buy a firearm than it is for you to buy a book.
Ever hear of Amazon, Mr. President? Come on, you can do better than that.
What? Oh, crap!
He can do better than that. Listen, he can do better.
There are neighborhoods where it's easier for you to buy a handgun and clips than it is for you to buy a fresh vegetable.
No carrots, no fresh vegetable. He's losing it here. He's losing. No speechwriter said, I got a good one. Let's say easier to buy firearm than a fresh vegetable. It's nuts.
More?
The president is off script. The president is off script. Be prepared. The president is off script.
And clips than it is for you to buy.
He said machetes.
A fresh vegetable. As long as that's the case, we're going to continue to see unnecessary violence. But
yay for unnecessary violence.
I guess I'll end by saying this.
Yeah, please.
Despite those frustrations, despite the failure of Congress to act, despite the failure of too many state legislators to act, in fact, in some places it goes the opposite direction. People just say, well, we should have firearms in kindergarten, and we should
I got to think of another one. Oh, come on, brain, don't fail me now. I need something. I need another analogy. I need a fact. I need a fun little fact.
Have machine guns in bars.
Yeah. You heard about that legislation? Machine guns in bars.
You think I'm exaggerating?
I do.
At some of these laws that come up.
Yeah. All right. I read the Federal Register, Mr. President.
You can give yourself clip of the day for that.
Wow.
Only because of the vegetable.
The vegetable really did it. It brought it home, I think.
Clip of the day. What an idiot.
Oh, man, I love that. Machine guns and bars. By the way, the Texas Senate passed the open carry legislation.
I thought you already had open carry.
Not for handguns.
What did you have it for?
Rifles, long guns, and antiques. Yeah, not for semi-automatic assault rifles, military-style assault rifles. But now, the open carry, as long as you have a concealed carry permit, then, as I understand it, then you can... I just want to go into Whole Foods with a judge strapped to my thigh. Hey, bitches! Here to get me some candles.
Yeah, that would be what you'd go there for. We have a Whole Foods here now. It's extremely it's
expensive.
An extreme ripoff.
Yeah. Hello.
Okay, so we know that over the last. I got a clip that'll be a segue.
I'm still just thinking about the judge strapped to my thigh. I'm really going to do that.
You should.
Yeah.
We'll have somebody take a picture of this.
Exercising my First Amendment, my second. Whoa, some one of those amendments.
So we have a tech boom in San Francisco.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
Twitter, moved in on Market Street, and there's all these different companies all over the place. They fixed up that falling apart Pacific Gas building. Is beautiful.
When I was in San Francisco a while back, we walked back from, I can't remember, some restaurant, and right by the Twitter headquarters, there was like one or two guys. It was the homeless guys who will walk alongside of you. Do you know that kind?
Yeah,
and talking to you and stuff.
Disconcerting.
Yeah.
They're gonna pull out a shiv.
Okay.
All right, so this is all going on. Is that Google's got the big buses picking people up, and the whole thing is they're building everything. There's all new apartments everywhere. It's like out of control. And so let's play the homelessness clip in San Francisco.
And while dousing doesn't look good for a church that prides itself on its charity works, it seemed to work.
Stop. So the church, the St. Mary's Cathedral, or a couple of these churches have taken up the idea of having sprinkler systems in their little annexes where they have people sit in there and try to get some sleep overnight. So they douse them.
Wait a minute. So like a little courtyard, you mean? Like a little church courtyard?
And just soak them.
Where there's grass and nice little benches.
Well, no, there's also the little enclaves where there's stair steps, and they may find a little spot they can sleep at night.
Yeah.
They soak them. They soak the guy. And so he gets out of there. So the only way you can do it, you roust them with water. And so this is going on. Start the clip from scratch again.
Yeah,
because
of course.
They're talking to a priest.
So these are holy.
He feels bad about it. I don't know.
These are holy men who have decided that instead of taking the meek and the poor and the hungry and the downtrodden into their home and hearth.
Yeah, they soak them and tell them to get the fuck out.
And while dousing doesn't look good for a church that prides itself on its charity works, it seemed to work.
It improved that actually there weren't as much needles and condoms and everything else around. So that doesn't make it.
Did he say needles and condoms?
Yeah, needles and condoms.
Needles and condoms. No.
In hindsight, right. But it did kind of improve.
Randy Shaw, an advocate with the Tenderloin Housing Clinic, says it's a city-wide problem.
But I think the larger question, which I think we should have attention to, is the failure of the city's homeless outreach program to effectively operate despite having a $3 million annual budget.
I'll definitely review that with them, but I know we're doing a heavy amount of outreach.
I just noticed behind you, the entrance to your housing clinic has a gate that comes down. Is that important to
we absolutely. And we've had more people sprawled in front of our entrance, I would say, in 2015 than the preceding 20 years.
I'd have to say that, in honesty, the problem of everything around here is getting to the point where there was frustration.
The priest was gay.
No, I don't know about that.
I do.
Could be.
Oh yeah.
Whatever the case, this is your high-tech boom going on. It's a high-tech boom creating more homeless. The guy says he's never seen anything like it. It's worse than it was for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And in 2015. Now we're only in the third month of 2015.
Who's the mayor up there in San Francisco?
Some guy, I can't remember his name, Ed something. And he's like the guy, he was actually in the piece where he says, oh, yeah, well, we'll look into it. I know we got a lot of money. we got to spend it, I guess, on something. I don't know what we're going to do. So that guy. And this is a disaster. And the high-tech guys, they don't care. It's all a bunch of millennials. And
they certainly don't appear to, that's for sure.
No.
A bunch of millennials. There you go. It's just a bunch of millennials.
It's your own fault. Get a job.
In the LGBTQIAP category, we have a Supreme Court decision coming up soon, gay marriage.
Yeah.
And I realized when I was looking at this, because you also get beaten over the head with it so much when they talk about this. It's on back burner now, but it's got to be coming up pretty soon. So the idea here is, excuse me, the idea is that the Supreme Court will say, well, because federally gay marriage is permitted, we're going to make a ruling that this carries across down to the state level. And I realized once again that my lesbian, gay, bisexual, bicurious, transgendered, ignorant, agnostic, etc., queer, questioning brothers and sisters are being misused once again, but this time it's for states' rights. This will never happen. It's going to be misconstrued as these states who are still left over. It's only 15 states, I think, who still haven't implemented gay marriage as a legal. We're going to look like a bunch of fucking a-holes, where it's really about a state's right to make this decision. And that's why it can't pass. There would be jurisprudence for it. Or precedent.
The 10th Amendment gives the states the right to do these things unless it's in the Constitution. And I think it's in the Constitution, so I don't think states' rights applies to any of this.
What is in the Constitution?
I think the gay marriage. It's not specifically said in the Constitution, but I think the equal rights amendment and some of not the equal rights amendment that was not passed, the one that was for women, but the various interpretations of the Constitution. I don't see where it says a marriage. It's got anything to do with marriage between a man and a woman.
Right. So I think what I'm saying is
I don't know. I have no idea. This topic has never interested me.
The topic of states' rights?
No, not the topic.
But that's what I'm saying. This is a states' right. This is going to be hidden behind the gay agenda, but I believe it's really a states' rights issue. Because I'm not quite sure what kind of legislation.
I think the original arguments were always the states' rights if they vote, the public votes against gay marriage, which they did in California, which is ironic. Then they have to wait till they get it passed and do something, whatever the state.
It could be far-reaching. I thought it was
the problem. I think, in terms of states' rights, is that there's an interstate commerce aspect to this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. That's where the government gets to jump in.
And I move to some state that doesn't recognize my marriage. Well, wait a minute. This is a problem.
Yeah, that would be a reason for them to legislate. And they have that power, I think.
Yeah. Because I think people are part of interstate commerce if you're moving from state to state.
Yeah, but it falls under the trafficking laws.
The argument is, well, you just stay in the state. That's bullcrap. If you're getting certain kinds of rights and privileges in one state because you can be married and then you can't be married in another state, you don't get those rights and privileges.
It's a mess. It's a mess.
It's a mess.
These two clips, I saw this guy, he was an analyst on Bloomberg, and it was about the oil price. What is it now? I kind of lost track.
It's around 45. I'll check.
45, okay. Which is unprecedented, and of course is causing...
No, it's not unprecedented at all.
I'm sorry. In the past 5 years, unprecedented.
Past 10.
Past 10, there you go. It is not unprecedented, you're correct. So this is a guy who was analyzing and gives a rationale for the prices going even lower, substantially lower, closer to the John C., where the C stands for carbon, Dvorak prediction of, what were you at, $25 a barrel?
30.
So here's what's happening. As prices, Mark, have fallen by about half over the past several months, from over $100 a barrel to below $50 a barrel, big trading companies, rather than sell it at those cheap prices, are storing it. They're sitting on it. They're buying it from oil companies, and they're putting it in big tank farms in the middle of the country and in Texas, hoping that prices will rise over the next couple of months and that they'll be able to sell it for, say, $60, $70 6 months down the road. The problem is production hasn't slowed down despite those high prices. So of those 9 million barrels a day that we're producing, about 1 million of those barrels a day get stuck in tanks. We're running out of space, and that's got a lot of analysts worried that we're in for a crash in the oil price again.
I thought that was an interesting assessment of where we're at and how it's kind of feeding on itself.
Yeah, no, it's great.
And then of course is that a yeah no when you go like that? Yeah, no, yeah. It's great. I think it's
amen. Fist bump.
Here is
I think I can get away with that.
Okay.
I think if there's a one beat, I'm allowed one beat as opposed to yeah no, which is just a quickie. Well, we talked about this on the Horowitz show, and he's not in line with my thinking on this either, which is going to go to 30.
Well, but here's what this analyst thinks is going to happen. If you'll indulge for 40 seconds.
Why have oil companies continue producing oil at this record-setting pace, and at what point do they start to slow down?
So a lot of these oil companies very smartly hedged back in the fall. They took out futures contracts that guaranteed them higher prices when we were crashing, say, in September, October. Depending on how savvy you were, you probably locked in a price, say maybe $70, $80, probably above where we are right now. So that means a lot of these companies are still being able to sell their oil at a price above where we are today. That keeps them profitable. As long as these traders are buying from them and sticking it in storage space, they're going to keep on producing until those hedges roll over, which will probably happen sometime later this year and in the summer. And once that happens, then they're going to start selling for lower prices, and we'll finally back up that glut to the wellhead and convince these guys to cool off a bit.
And that's what I found was interesting, is that you don't think about it, but so many companies that have need natural resources, they have these hedges. So they have an average price, which is what the derivatives market is all about. So you can kind of forecast your business on, let's say, $50 a barrel oil, but most people are at 60 or 70. And even though the price is lower, it's going to be constant for them until those contracts roll over. And that's what I think is an interesting time frame.
Well, here's the way I'm seeing this. I see the same thing. And I know about the storage thing, and they're also putting them in ships that are just sitting there.
Oh, yeah.
But they're at the point where the inventory is maxed out. They can't build tanks fast enough, so they're screwed.
Correct.
And they're going to have to start pushing this oil into the market, which is going to cause a glut, which is going to drop the prices even more. I mean, it has to happen. It's the only way these things work, unless somebody rigs it and they haven't figured out a way to do that. I want to reiterate this. When we had the clip on this show, which was about a year ago, where the Saudis discussed what happened in the 70s. And I talked about this before. I'm going to talk about it again. In the 70s, we had this, actually in the 80s, when Reagan came out and wanted to put it to both the Russians.
Would this be would this be the Saudis manipulating oil price and F Russia clip? Well, I haven't.
I don't know. Let's play that clip.
Vice President of the Russian oil giant Rosneft has accused Saudi Arabia of manipulating the oil price for political reasons. Mikhail Leontiev's remarks come amid reports that Saudi officials have...
Is this it?
No. This is the clip where the Russian RT folks believe that the Saudis are pumping like crazy to screw the shale oil people out of. They could have done this a while ago, by the way, so this is nothing new. And this is what happened in the 70s, too. But I don't believe it's really they don't care. They're pumping like crazy. They don't care if they would prefer the higher prices. It's not as though the shale oil guys are eating their lunch or anything. It's just bull crap. The point was made in another clip, which I don't even want you to look for it.
Okay.
Where the Saudis in the 70s the 80s when the price went down as low as 20 during the Reagan administration, the Saudis were told to back off because this was getting out of control. It was too low. And the Saudis and the OPEC were said, can you guys back off a little bit? Slow down the pumping. We like to get these things under control. It's ridiculous. And the Russians have already eaten it by then at 20. They can't really afford it, at least in the technology they had during that era. And the Saudis were the only people within OPEC that actually pulled back on their production. And then at the end of the day, and I'm using that word because it's the only one I can think of.
It was the end of the day, yeah.
At the end of the day, the Saudis lost market share and said, and we had this clip, they said, we're not doing that anymore. We're not going to stop production just so you guys can stabilize the price. We can pump and make money at $10 a barrel, and we're not going to lose market share. Losing market share is worse than losing money, which is a real capitalistic way to think about this. So they're pumping like crazy. It's got nothing to do with anything else except the fear, which they've already seen happen to them in the 70s and 80s, of losing market share.
Now, turn on your television, turn to a news channel, and tell me that you hear someone with that kind of analysis. No. Meanwhile,
we had the clip to back that up.
I'll a reminder to look for it after when we're doing our post-show thing. Meanwhile, our friend, he's an anti-nuke, but he is also CNN's resident expert during the Fukushima nuclear disaster, Arnie Gunderson.
Like a conflict of interest?
Yes. Arnie Gunderson. Big headlines in the UK. Nuclear expert warns of Chernobyl on steroids risk from proposed nuclear plant 200 kilometers from the Irish coast. And this, of course, does not behoove anybody who wants to be selling carbon-based stuff. So I sent this article, because this, of course, is what most journalists don't do. I sent this article to our resident nuclear expert, Sir Rod Adams. So what do you think of this? And he said, here's Rod. Now, Rod was on a nuclear submarine for 2 decades. He's well known in the nuclear industry. And Rod says he's wrong. The AP1000 is the design used for the 4 reactors under construction in Georgia and South Carolina. It's a good, safe design that has no possibility of an event like Chernobyl. Gunderson, by the way, has a history of absurd statements about nuclear energy. And then there's 25 years worth of links that Rod has provided us with. So there you go. For those of you in the United Kingdom of Gitmo Nation East, he's just wrong. And there's also a longer blog post that Sir Rod put together specifically regarding this article.
Why am I not surprised?
Well, no, of course. Let me see. I think that's what I have for now. I'm working on a couple other things. Of course, the Boston trial continues, which is becoming more hilarious by the day. They keep coming up with video that is not the video we were promised. Hey, we got a really scary video of when they walked into the convenience store at the gas station. Yeah. And then they have it's just the video that we were promised of the kid putting the backpack in the trash can just does not exist. And the media has given up on the story, if they ever really were doing anything with it.
You know, if you stick with the mainstream media, if you're sticking with this one question, it would go like this. Oh, you're going to ask that same question. We're getting a little sick of this.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, you can do the interview, but you can't ask that question.
That's another thing. They do that to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What is happening, though, is kind of...
We've seen videos of guys walking out. You weren't supposed to talk about that. I'm out of here.
You're right. There is one thing that is falling apart, and I believe it is the misorganization about Mars One, which we immediately debunked as phony and just a reality show. You see the people who were involved.
Oh, the Mars One fiasco.
Yeah, literally the Endemol people.
They're going to put people to a one-way trip.
Yeah.
And then I believe some of it, I believe a lot of the people say, yeah, I'll do it. I think that many of them were sincere.
Well,
I don't think it was all scripted.
Sir, no. This is where I think this is where they made their mistakes. Sir Joseph Roche, professor at Trinity College School of Education in Dublin, he was one of the chosen ones, and then he started to see all these things that were weird. For instance, they were supposed to come to see him and meet him as one of the the 100 final candidates, but that ultimately resulted in a 10-minute Skype call. That would be I'm like, okay, I don't think these guys are serious about sending me to Mars. But that was so he was admitted based on the 10-minute Skype call. In February, finalists received a list of tips and tricks for dealing with press requests, which included this little gem. If you are offered payment for an interview, then feel free to accept it. We do kindly ask for you to donate 75% of your profit to Mars One.
Wow.
These people also had to pay an entrance fee.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yes, apparently.
How much was this fee?
Several $1,000s, but I don't have an exact number.
Well, if anyone actually did that, they're idiots.
Well, there were a number of them. And now it appears that Endemol is pulled out of the project, which is a sure sign that the format is dead. And they probably are just broke. Just ran out of money on this scam, which was pretty good. I mean, they had the right idea. But, if you don't have the resources to pick everybody up and make them feel like future travelers and astronauts and keep your PR scam going, you're going to get found out.
Oh. Well, the beginning, I thought they did a good job of setting it up for it be a good reality show.
Yeah, a lot of people fell for it. That was good. But
they did everything. I guess the underfunded things like this is not good.
And then finally,
they should have done it some other way.
Oh well, yeah. First of all, they should have had the resources to actually treat the candidates who were self-selective and chosen, so-called, to have a real experience.
Especially if they paid money.
Well, yeah, exactly. That was wrong from the get-go. But it shows you how well it would have worked, I think. And then, of course, the most emailed and tweeted story of the day.
You slaves can get used to mac and cheese. Macaroni and cheap cheddar melted together.
Mac and cheese, mac and cheese, mac and cheese. Of course, this is the program that we have always been trending when it comes to mac and cheese. We knew this was coming. This is what people eat during depressionary times when money's tight and $1 can feed your entire family just with a packet and some water. And what was this story? They recalled Kraft recalled 6.5 million boxes of its signature. That's the Lux version.
The good one.
Signature macaroni and cheese.
We talked about this on the DHM Plus show, and I did a calculation, which I'll reiterate.
Can I make a prediction?
Okay.
They will sell more mac and cheese because of this story.
Ugh. There's metal in it, which is probably the only nutrition you'd get. But let me just say that I did a calculation on the write-off. The 6.5 million boxes. I believe that Kraft will have to write off $50,000 in their next quarterly.
Here's an interesting question, since it's so close to tax time.
Because that joke didn't go over with you.
No, I didn't understand it. I was actually thinking you were onto something real. Do the joke again.
No, it's okay. I don't need to do that. People who listen to the show will have heard the joke, and they're laughing. There's milk is coming out of their nose. Anyway, go on.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
When you said the write-off, something triggered in my mind that a while back we got an email from one of our producers who said there's so many car recalls because there's an accounting trick, something with a recall, that there's a tax benefit or deferred tax.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I was just thinking, so close to tax
Maybe this
time.
is just a scam.
Well, I don't know. It's 6.5 million boxes.
A lot. I can't believe anyone buys that stuff and eats it.
I told you I ate it.
Yeah, could you finish it?
Yeah, it wasn't all that much. Well, that one packet is not really enough for a growing boy.
It's a dinner.
It's a meal. It's a meal in a packet. It's just beautiful. I don't know. Is there anything else I need to say about it other than I think that these recalls either have a tax benefit, but it's also possible that somehow they can do, I don't know, we're all out of ideas. I know. We need to come back with new, improved, safe, better.
Believe me, I'm baffled by people who buy that stuff. And I've seen the dinners. They have them at the grocery outlet. We'll have mac and cheese, not the Kraft stuff, but they have the Kraft sometimes, but they have there's other brands, off brands. Yeah. There's nothing. Your life, you better reevaluate your life if you're eating off brand packets mac and cheese. Okay, let's just a little warning for you, anyone doing this. 39 cents for a mac and cheese off brand dinner.
All right, we will on Sunday. John will give us, and I will write it down and publish it. Will give us his famous macaroni and cheese recipe that is not expensive, but it's also not for losers. Don't you think you can do that?
Yeah, okay. I'll do a run through it again, so I have the exact measurements.
I think it'd be perfect. Perfect. All right, leaving on a jet plane early in the morning.
A jet plane is what you said.
Jet plane, yeah, I know.
No, a jet plane is what it is.
I said jet plane.
Yeah, it is jet plane.
I know.
Jet plane.
You try sleeping on the couch for 2 weeks. I'm ready to go home.
I'm ready to go.
I really am. I'm ready for home. Thank you all very much for supporting the program. Dvorak.org/NA is where you can find all different forms of support. Remember, it's #FletcherFest. And until we meet again, fighters of freedom, coming to you from Rotterdam, the Netherlands, in the morning, I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, we have another sunny, kind of a warm day, may hit 80 in the middle of winter here. I'm John C. Dvorak.
We'll be back on Sunday right here on No Agenda.
Fat lady! Fat bitch! Dvorak.org/NA.
Amen. Fist bump.